we're back. So we're in full walkthrough mode. God, that sucks, Crazy Norse. I have heard of drift, and apparently it's just every now and again they have drift. I happen to be fortunate that neither of my controller packs have drift. Oh, God, it's 1,000,000 degrees in here. Jesus Christ. Sorry. Come on. There you go. Alright. Now time to be as negative as humanly possible. By looking at this piece of paper. That's not a piece of paper. That's a piece of paper. Let's see. This round doll thing is called a Daruma, I think. Figured I'd read a book or two and be more cultured, in case you're wondering. You mean you aren't making stuff up for a change? I bet you also didn't know no matter what, he'll always write himself. Come on, give him a good shove. Only if I feel like dying. Now, this yellow thing, this is a Japanese chess piece. I think it's a king? Not that I'm an expert at anything. It's more of a reversey person, you know. These aren't exactly your typical mobster wannabe items. They're not trophies, are they? Gulp. There's a piece of paper sticking out from here. What do you got against the color pink, Crazy Norse? No, there's been a lot of pink. Looks like he did some repair work on his car. Does he even have one? $15,000 to replace a bumper and a light. Yep. I once had to pay about $5,000 for a bumper. Just a bumper. The car is registered to Cadaverinus. Cadaverinus? It's not even Tiger's car. How would someone else's repair bill be in the Tiger's office? Oh, Cadaverini. Gotcha. So in other words, typical Italian mobster name, but with cadaver built in. So, he's under pressure from the Cadaverinis for some reason. No, someone dropped the ashtray on the floor. That's going to be a nightmare to clean up. Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, it's all over the rug and everything. I accidentally knocked over a really big space heater once. Cleaning it was such a pain. It's one of those super antiques where you have to burn a ton of charcoal. But you managed to knock over one of those. Aren't those super heavy? Oh, here's a book of matches. From Très Bien. Yeah, that's true. I should stop smoking so much. There we go. I always feel better when I got a cigarette in my mouth. Alright. There we go. There we go. That's the stuff. I don't know how smokers, like, react to cigarettes, so I don't actually know how to emulate being a smoker. Sorry. Like, I have a lot of friends and family who are smokers, including my mother, but I've never understood the specific thing that it does for them. So. One impressive desk on one impressive rug. Solid gold, Nick. Gold! Look at that shine. Only real gold shines like that. That is not true. Do you really want such a shiny desk? I don't know. We'll see what it takes to sit at a solid gold desk. Oh, I'm completely dazed. It's because it's completely dazzling. I can see up my nose in the reflection. That's got to be really distracting. Yeah, no kidding, Crazy Norse. Also, if that desk is really solid gold, that's like in the million range in terms of value. What is far more likely is that is painted with gold paint, which is not gold at all. The CD player on the desk. The desk is so loud, it's a wonder you can hear it. The lid's open. Wonder what kind of music the Tiger's into. Have you finished the coffee? I am incredibly evil. Can't you tell by looking at me? Yes, thanks. It was lovely. So, you drank it all? If you touch anything else that doesn't belong to you, there's always another cup. Coffee. It was laced with something. No! Nick, my stomach, it's killing me. Oh, wait. That's just the burger I ate for breakfast. Better take a look at that CD while we're still alive and have the chance. It's not the Rocco soundtrack, is it? Claw of the Tiger? It's a demo CD. The artist's name has been handwritten on the disc in pen. MC Bomber. This must be the CD Maggie told us about. Let's listen to it. I bet it's heavy metal. No way, that woman will make us drink more coffee if we do. Guar. What are you two snooping around my office for? Nothing. We're just... Guar! My precious carpet. Use God ash in my rug. You're gonna wish your ugly feet never came through my door. By the way, I wasn't hitting any buttons during that roar. That was just the game progressing the roar that long. You just want to argue with me? Is that what you're doing? You think you can take me's on? I'm gonna flatten yous two into pancakes and turn yous into my new rugs. Oh. Don Tigre, you're back. It's that voice. It's like evil seeping into your head through your ears. She's not a zombie. She's not a vampire. She's a zombie. Or a lich. What do you guys think? I'm sorry, Don Tigre. I knocked over that ashtray earlier and... No, I saw Velvedrix. You linked it to me. She got a death wish or what? Oh, right. No. Forget about it, Violetta. It's nothing. I ain't gonna get mad at you. Too cute, yeah. Okay, yeah. She's above him in the mafia. In the family. And she's incredibly evil. Here. Have some cookies. I just baked them. And you'll need some strong espresso while you're discussing your loan. Oh, Phoenix Wright. He's either crazy or plain stupid to chase after me. I worked so hard, but now you's gotta come and mess up my plan. It was him. Well, I don't care. No one gets in my way. You should have left the little girl at home, right? No questions. This is the last time we meet. Win through compromise. Or die trying. That's pretty weak, Nick. You waited until he was out of earshot before you shouted after him. Like you're one to talk. I didn't hear you scream hold it either. The espresso. Ah! What do you think, Dakota? Lich? Banshee? Zombie? Mummy? I mean, mummies are pretty mean, too. And... cookies. Excuse me, are you Violetta? Only Sildeer can qualify as Violetta. Violetta! I mean, Sildeer. Explain yourself, sir. Ow. Double ow. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate, as always. Yeah, I mean, I was actually thinking she might just be a straight-up ghost at this point. I don't think demon applies to her, at least not as I would define a demon. Now, of course, according to the Japanese, everything's a demon, so, you know, sure. Yes, I know it's not that simple. I know I Don't care. I don't think she doesn't strike me as a vampire, though. Anyways, I'm curious of your company, Tenderlender. With the warm and friendly atmosphere you'd expect from a family-sized business. A conscientious rate of interest and an attractive repayment policy. Why do I get the feeling this sentence is not going to end well? We will tenderly lend you that little bit extra here at Tenderlender. Nick, things are a little tight for Right & Co., aren't they? I mean, there's that $500 you owe me from our card game, for starters. Why don't you take out a loan? Will I take out a loan for this place? I would rather die. Tenderlender is on your side. So, let's say I'm late with my repayment. What happens then? We'd give you more coffee. Strong coffee. Right. I think I'd rather skip town. Hey, just remember I can make strong coffee too, Nick. Strong tea as well. Please stop trying to poison me, Maya. So, you know about the incident we're investigating? What incident? Well, a man was poisoned in a restaurant just near here. That incident. I did not, Harriet. I didn't see it. I left the thing up, too, just to make sure, but I didn't see any messages from you. But I have jotted it down now. Pathologic 2. Let me see. I was here that day with the manager. Manager being the tiger? Furio Tigre. Furio Tigre? So that's where Tiger comes from. Zine Aop's got a real name. Hurry up, find out more info about him. Okay. I present this to you. Whoops, wrong thing. Can I ask you about the tiger? I mean, Mr. Tigre? Cookie? Sure. How do you like my cookies? I baked them myself. Yeah, it's actually weird because my current theory was that she poisoned him as part of the mafia thing, but like, I don't know. I mean, she's obviously above Tiger in terms of the mafia organization. That it's a mafia, it's a mafia. Ah. Objection. Anyways, ladies first, Maya. She's pure evil. We are lovers. I really hope that's not true. It's not exactly coming across the tone of your voice. I owe Don Tigre my life. He's the one who saved me. The tiger saved you? Please, address him properly as Don Tigre. Otherwise, I'll have to... Okay. Don Tigre, of course, I'm sorry. Please. I'll do anything. God, please stop talking. I'm very frail, you see. Just recently, I died once. So, that doesn't narrow it down from any of the things we were postulating earlier. Like, everything we were listing. Mummy, Lich, Ghost, Banshee. All of those things have already died. About 4 months ago, the doctor said to abandon all hope. Yeah, zombie, yep. Guess they're expecting her to take a boat ride across River Styx. Don Tigre. He saved me. Gave up everything. When I found out what he had done for me, I was happy. No offense, but I'm finding that a little hard to believe. I decided to pay him back with my life by serving him coffee and espresso. Still wonder about what's in her coffee. So, is that what you got the bandage around your head? This? So what's the story with it? They put it on after the operation. It's just a little injury. A little fatal injury. Fatal injury? I just suffered one herself. So that's the injury you were talking about when you died? Oh. Whoa. Yeah, that's 4. Yeah, she really creeps me out, Nick. That's because she's incredibly evil. I'm just kidding. They don't always do the Fire Emblem thing here. Remember? In Game 2, there was one person who violated the Fire Emblem law. There he is. Old Seedy's back. Oh my god, why do I need to talk to this guy? I don't want to talk to this guy. Yeah, he's really mad. The Fire Emblem rule is based on Fire Emblem, is you can always tell who's good and who's bad based on how pretty and or ugly and or evil they look. Like, you can tell pretty much the moment you look at someone that they are evil, good, or bad. Oh, Hottie is worse, absolutely. Come on, Maya. Just keep your head down and let's sneak away while we can. Oh, why? Hello, old man. What are you doing? I don't know. I kind of called Mimi instantly, if you'll remember. No, the exception I'm thinking of is actually Acro. Although, actually, that's not true. There was another exception as well, and that was On Guard. He was an exception, too, now that I think about it. Not surprised. I bet I really hurt his pride in court this morning. I'm not sure why. He's the one who sucked so badly. Yeah, exactly. What Sierra Mike said. Look, we really need to talk to you, okay? Do we really? Out with the demons. In with the good fortune. Seeds, shell splinters, painful. I always knew you were a demon, Maya. It would explain a lot, actually. I'm sorry about what happened in court earlier. Everyone will be talking about me behind my back now. Who were you again? Dirty old man, so busy looking at the serving girl's backside he can't remember her face. A filthy, depraved animal. Yeah, that sounds fairly accurate. What's the issue here? You listening to me, boy? I don't care what you say. I saw that waitress put it in. She put some white powder in the young lady's Javachino. We heard you. And another thing, the young layabout was wearing an earpiece on the same side of the lens of his broken spectacles. So I made a little mistake about the vase. So what? You made like 5 mistakes in a row. Take it easy, Mr. Kudo. Don't tell me to take it easy, you spiky-haired brat. I'll count that one. You said you were a craftsman, right? The modern world casts honest craftsmen like me aside in droves. Actually, if you can get an audience, you tend to get paid a lot of money. From a long line of craftsmen, right back to the line of the shoguns. I'm not gonna say anything. Hear me? I didn't become an embroiderer. I was born one. I mean, the time of the shoguns was roughly when the caste system was invented, so... For Japan, I mean. Actually, I'm kind of in the same situation myself. I wanted to stick my fingers up that dribbling old judge's nose. Scream right down his ear hole. Objection. Did you want to become a lawyer when you were young? I don't think that's quite it. He's just in a bad mood. I got a tsunami of frustration. It's ready to burst. Fine. Go ahead and rant. Of course not, you idiot. All I'm good for nowadays is running errands. Errands? Everyone takes advantage of the elderly. Buy some bread. Take the dog for a walk. Feed the pigeons. What am I, some sort of 2-bit community handyman? Well, buy some bread. Now that I can understand. What's the point of feeding some seedy pigeons? Why don't people say what they mean? Get lost, that's what they're trying to say. Oh yeah, just an inconvenience, you see? At home, at that restaurant, I just get in the way, don't I? Yeah, that I sympathize with. Wait a minute, what did you just say? Hold up. By restaurant, you mean about Très Bien? Did you get asked to run an errand there, too? Yes, I did. The very day the young brat was poisoned. Why didn't you share that? On the day of the incident, what were you asked to do? Yeah, I will actually say, despite the perverted angle, which I don't care for, this guy is more tolerable than Oldbag. Ironically, Oldbag herself also has the perverted angle, so there's that. Glad you asked, boy, because I'll tell you what I was asked to do. All of a sudden, the young lad slumped over. The serving guild collapsed. And I broke the vase. It all happened so fast, I was in a bit of a daze, you see. And the owner shouted over to me, "Excuse me, you, call the police." "Call them yourself," I should have said back, but I didn't think of it at the time. So, did you end up calling the police? Actually, we knew that. They mentioned that already. It took them a while to find a payphone. Do I look like I have one of those newfangled thingamajigs? Went out looking for a payphone, of course. Look, all we needed to do is get rid of the perversion part. It's all I care about. Sorry, that was a package I was expecting. And it took a little longer than normal because I had to wash my hands after picking up said package. Just in case. So, I went looking for a payphone. Where'd the controllers go? Oh, there. Well, that's also part of why I immediately went to pick up the package, Shikor. Like, oh, package is here. Phoong. You know, looking for one? Couldn't find one right away, you know. Wandered around for 5 minutes or so. 5 minutes? So for 5 minutes after the incident happened, the owner was at Très Bien on his own. Why didn't you mention that in court this morning? I would have if you'd given me the chance. I gave you 4 chances, buddy. It's not my fault. You're the ones to blame. Could at least told us before we got to court. Is it really that important? Yeah. The unaccounted time. It's 5 minutes. Yeah, I think I'll agree, Sierra. Sierra Mike. Might have been chased out on purpose. What do you mean? Maybe a certain someone didn't want him in the restaurant. So look at this. Yes, 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 yes. Submit compliment. There we go. What? It doesn't look like he's unnatural, does it, Juanto? Go ahead, say I was in the way as usual. Suppose I should have been getting myself covered in pigeon poop instead, huh? Right. Hello, Maggie. They finished questioning you? Wasn't it unbelievable in court today? I'm going to stay up all night and blog about everything that happened. You have internet? Aren't you scared? It was pretty touch and go in there. I have, Aethel, once. That's exactly why I do it. Because every now and again, it actually hasn't happened in a while at this point, but when I first moved here, they had a tendency to deliver things to the other apartment complex over there. Yeah. You totally nailed that old man. Well, he was all over the place with his testimony. He's not the only one. What do you mean? Everyone else's testimonies don't match up either. Not with what I remember of the incident, anyways. Well, first, got something for you. Jesus, Sildear. I was wondering what took so long. I figured you just decided, yeah, you know what, screw that lore guy. Nobody likes him anyways. I'll sub to him and throw it away. Unity, you got it, sir. And thank you again. Oh yeah, I've got something you're gonna love. Really? What is it? A lunchbox, just for you. Here. Oh, a lunchbox. Weenies, too. Oh, thank you. Did you make this? Nope. It was Detective Gumshoe. Detective Gumshoe? Yeah, he's really worried about you. He put a lot of effort into making this for you, too. I can't accept it. Detention center rules. No gifts allowed, sir. Come on, Maggie. Don't be like that. Rules are rules. They'll lock you up if you break them. I break rules every frickin' day of my life. In-game. Anyway. I hate weenies. Really? It's all yours, Maya. You can enjoy it with Mr. Wright. She's right. It's better than letting it go to waste. Lore does not evade taxes. That's not funny. Lore pays several $1,000s every month in taxes. Thank you very much. Lore pays through the nose in taxes because that's how this country works. Because I'm an independent business, which means I pay tons of money on taxes. And I do a lot of work to prove legally that I pay them all the friggin' time. Now, Yoshi! Did you evade your taxes, Yoshi? Yoshi! Okay, that's what I thought. Well, how was it? That hit the spot. Nom, nom, nom. Yeah, the smaller your business, the more you pay. That's pretty much straight up true. There's like a set point at which hiring people would actually be cheaper than continuing to work alone. I'm not there yet, but I've been thinking about it a lot lately. Right. Testimony. Where the hell is it? Oh, there it is. That's true, Crazy Norse. See, it's funny. The answer is I just need to become a billionaire, and a lot of my problems will go away. I've been a bit of a courtroom proceeding addict for years now. Feels like forever since I saw a witness as slippery as that old man. Not really that bad of an old man, though. He's just a pervert. Still, feel a bit uneasy. He's also a self-hating pervert, which is one of the worst kinds. Look, I don't care if you like feet, just don't up to it, okay? God. Maggie, if there's something on your mind, you have to tell us. Especially if it has anything to do with Mr. Kudo. Roger, I'll spill it all. Okay. Maggie, you know how you said that everyone else provided testimony that didn't match? Yep. There are just so many things that don't seem to add up. The biggest contradiction is the other guy. He was the one who slipped the coffee. He said it was the waitress. See you around, Saldir. Enjoy your gun. No, no, Saldir, please! No! Now you have to prove it wasn't Saldir. That's going to be your guys' challenge for the day. Yeah, true enough, Faithful. There's basically, like, if you want to think of it in a simple analogy, think of it like you're in a bubble. If you want to go too high in terms of financial, independence or whatever, it's a lot harder to burst the bubble. Like, basically, you have to make more money than you'd think you would to be equivalent of making money back here. Ironically, it actually works the same in reverse, too. You have to spend more money to be back where you actually are. It's a messed up system. But anyway, let's get on. Let's not talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about economics on the Lore Walkers. Come on. A CD with the writing on it. The MC Screwdriver album. MC Bomber. They never did find the CD at the crime scene, sir. Or the victim's medication. My head, this is way too complicated. Profit economics. That's a good idea. Hey, Shikor, give me all your money. You said you passed out when the victim, Glenelg, collapsed, right? Yes, it's so embarrassing. I mean, I used to be a cop. When I came to, the restaurant was buzzing with police. Before I knew what was going on, they arrested me, sir. So, between the... No, please don't, Shikor. I was joking. So between the time the victim collapsed and the time the police arrived on the scene, you had no idea what went on in Trebian. Nope. Why? Is it important? The other witness was pretty much chased out of the picture. Old Seedy wasn't in the restaurant because he was told to go call the police. Lol, Valvedrix. Objection! Like, I can't even do that with my voice. Objection! So Mr. Armstrong was alone in the restaurant for a brief period of time. No. You don't think Mr. Armstrong set me up, do you? Well, it's hard to imagine he wasn't involved. It's like the master biting the paw of the dog it feeds. You sure about this? Yeah. I don't think he's actually doing it, but I think he's involved. Maybe we should ask Maggie exactly what she knows about Old Seedy. Is there anything about Mr. Kudo's testimony that stood out as odd to you? Actually, yes. The fact that he was even testified to begin with doesn't quite... Well, when I took the coffee over to the victim's table... It's true there was another customer in the restaurant. But I can't really say it was an old man. How about calling him a really old middle-aged man? No, age isn't the issue. The other customer was a woman. A woman? And yeah, it's not like you'd confuse Kudo with a woman, so... You sure? I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. That's what this woman looked like. Frail and creepy and had a cackling laugh. Dun, dun, dun. Well, we're done here. Peace! Main server just went up in smoke. Why the heck isn't the press conference set up? The superintendent's here already. Yeah, and there's a problem with the internet, too. I told you to stop using computer, Chief. But I'm watching videos online. I'm catching up on my Asian soap operas. It's gonna have to wait, Chief. Throw in the switch. No, just when some young guy was about to confess to his son's hot-to-trot girlfriend. Oh, this place is really buzzing. Yeah. What are you doing here, pal? Detective Gumshoe. Can't be here right now. He'll be roped into briefing if you stay. We got big problems today. Why? What's going on? It's a virus. A virus! A virus? There's a virus ripping its way through the precinct's computer system. I really need to ask you some questions. So... what am I giving you? Detective Gumshoe. I'm trying to concentrate on Megan. This is it! This stupid name! I remember it now! Here it comes. Just nod to yourself and keep me in the dark, Nick. What's going on? It's okay, Maya. You don't have to cry about it. The name scribbled on the sports paper and written on the CD. That's the name of the virus, the MC Bomber. The virus's data is too powerful. It's eating through the mainframe. You know, when I was a lot younger, I used to get really pissed off when people would misrepresent IT stuff in Hollywood. Somewhere along the line, I decided to just go ahead and start laughing at it. In fact, I could name the exact movie. It was Die Hard 4. The one with his daughter, you know? And, like, the computer hacker guy, which is... Like, I'll never forget that he hacked multiple IPs simultaneously. Not hacking through the IPs, or from, or anything. Just hacking multiple IPs simultaneously. I'll never forget that line. Now, I actually enjoyed the movie, legit. It was funny, and I was with it. But that's kind of my point. I imagine a lot of us have something that we know, that we actually are aware of, or have either professional or personal interest, either because we're a hobbyist, or because it's our job, right? And I've noticed a lot of people, the things that we actually know, we tend to get more prickly about when they're misrepresented in fiction. I also know several people also had the exact same revelation, or whatever you want to call it, that I did with Die Hard 4, where it's like, okay, you know what, this is just stupid. I'm just going to make fun of it and move on. So, I just thought I'd share that because, like, I know a decent amount about criminal law, and I'm just laughing at this, but I'm imagining, like, an actual lawyer who hasn't hit that point trying to play this game. Well, actually, hang on. Do I still have it? I might still have it. Give me 1 second, guys. I can summarize everything with one picture. And I have it saved right here. You see this guy? He's about to present a crucial piece of evidence in his case. That's the piece of evidence right there. Do you see it? It's in his right hand. You see it there? We've got his hard drives. Scans of everything in his safe. You can tell it's the hard drives because of the... I can't even do it. Oh, I am never getting rid of that picture. Can you give us any more details? Yes, there was actually a scene in some show, I can never remember the name of the show, but I've actually seen it, where they're like, oh my god, we're getting hacked, and the guy's like, no, I need help, and so the other girl jumps onto the keyboard, so the two of them are typing on the keyboard at the same time to counter-hack as quickly as possible. That's just so much not how that works. On so many different levels. Anyways, where am I? I gave him that. Right, I need to present Creepy Lady. It says she's absolutely not a robot. NCIS, got it. It's the girl who works over at Tender Lender. I want to stay away from her, okay? I mean it. They did hacking in Persona 5? Is my response to that. She does look kind of unforgiving, doesn't she? Should be the least of your worries, pal. Her name's Viola Cadaverini. Dun, dun, dun. She's the granddaughter of Bruto Cadaverini. Oh, so she's not actually in line in the family, but she's the granddaughter of the one who's in line, so she might as well be, yeah. Futaba. Hang on. Persona 5 Futaba. Come on, load. Well, the picture isn't striking anything, so I'm gonna say nope. I got nothing. Yes, 5, Harant. Ow. Not that I'm aware of, Valvatrix, no. Bruto Cadaverini is the boss of the Cadaverini family. Really? We can't touch them. They're way too powerful for the police. I wonder if they were ever related with Mr. Gant. You're thinking of taking him on, aren't you? I actually liked that scene, Sierra Mike. No joke. Because you're absolutely right. That is a real thing. And that is an actual procedure I've been trained in. Now, not the axe part. In what to yank and where. I always knew. It was, I guess I don't need to describe it, but like, if I'm sitting at my station, I just had to get up, grab the key, which is right there, unlock the box, pull it open, yank this, yank this, yank this, click that power switch. That was the nuclear option when it came to, you know, data invasion. Better get some info out of... The reason it was the nuclear option is getting everything back up after doing that was a colossal pain. We had to do that once, because we actually were hit by it. I wasn't actually there for that, so it never actually hit me. But by the time I came into my shift, they were still fixing everything from doing that, so... yeah. I'm not sure how well I'm going to evolve this, but who are the Cadaverinis? Who are they? Scary bunch of people, that's who. You're a cop and you're scared? Trust me, it doesn't matter if you're a kid or cop, these guys are scary. They've got some serious clout in the criminal underworld. We can't touch them, they got too much moolah. As in money. They control all the cash in the city's black market. And that includes Tenderlender, I take it? Yeah. No one stands up to Bruto Cadaverini. Not gonna make a GTA joke. It's Kuze in his old age. So Viola's the granddaughter of the mafia boss? Yep. And everyone knows how much Bruto loves his little girl. That's true, if I was a mafia don, not that I am, my niece would have, like, free reign of everything. I'm joking. She would have close to free reign. How'd she end up at Tenderlender? I don't know, pal. Heard she and the boss at Tenderlender are pretty tight. Tight? That's what it said in the file I read. Related to Maggie's case. That's why I said almost, Crazy Norse. Almost. So what exactly is a computer virus, Detective Gumshoe? I don't know. Look, I just go with the flow, alright? Here, I thought detectives were knowledgeable. What's with that face, pal? Think you know what a virus is? That's right, computers are brand new as of the 90s. Although, you remember when people were drastically overestimating? Like, you remember when computers and hacking were, like, the big thing that was being scaremongered? This would have been early 90s at this point. Like, late 80s. And, there was one movie I'll never forget. It was Sandra Bullock. I think it was called The Net? It was hysterically bad. Like, it was one of those so bad it's goods for me. And just... oh my god. Anyways. I'm gonna call you Dr. Wright from now on. Sounds pretty cool, don't you agree? Dr. Wright. The Y2K bug was hysterical, yes. I would like to say that I don't know anyone personally who was freaked out about Y2K. Whoop. Already knew about the MC Bomber virus from a while back. Johnny Mnemonic. I mean, I like that film. Group of criminals issued a series of demands to the head honchos of law enforcement. They threatened to release the virus if their demands were met. Who are they? I don't know. Some hotshots from the underworld, that would be my guess. Now the virus has been released, huh? Yeah, it's in every computer in the public office in the city. How? They're hopping around like they're dancing at a carnival. All this stuff with criminals and viruses. It feels like we're in a sci-fi movie. Yes, I know, Crazy Norse. I did some of that work for my local, companies that I was working for at the time. That's why I kind of raised an eyebrow at it. It's like saying... God, let me come up with an analogy. Okay, I've got it. It's like if you're cooking chicken, any chicken dish, right? So you're dealing with the chicken, you're chopping up the chicken, someone says, "Oh my God, if there's salmonella that might be on your hands, it might cause you horrible diseases." No, and they just all freak out about it. You're just sitting there washing your hands like, what are you freaking out about? Right? I mean, the scale doesn't quite work, but you get my point. We had ideas and work on what to do to begin with. We were ready to go years in advance. Everyone's freaking out because, like, oh God, they're not going to wash their hands. The focus right now is on tracing the route of this virus in the black market. You mean someone put this virus up for sale? Yeah, and because this one's so powerful, they're estimating its price tag was in the millions. A virus can be worth that much? Yeah, just ask Keanu Reeves. Sorry, Neo. True enough, Crazy Horse. Almost forgot the most important thing. The lunchbox. Okay, that's wholesome. I like that. Yep, the virus is too powerful, guys. How'd my weenies taste when they went down the hatch? Huh? Well, it was delicious. That's what she said? Really? Not exactly. Don't worry about it, pal. I figured something would happen, so I came prepared. I made a jumbo lunchbox. Do me a favor and deliver this. These again, Nick? Tell me we don't have to eat these too. No, not your downloaded RAM! No, Leander! So, a virus is a program that gets inside a computer and causes damage. Yeah, that's a fairly basic way to put it. You think it makes a machine go boom and explode? Only on Star Trek. No, the damage is internal. Aww. So the inside goes boom? Okay, imagine all the case data you stored on your PC in the station. A virus could wipe all that out. Oh god, yeah. Anyone ever remember probably the most dangerous virus I've ever actually seen was the 1/2 virus. You remember that? It's a virus that literally would do nothing in modern technology because hardware just isn't the same anymore. But the 1/2 virus was mean back in the day. I actually got it once. The 1/2 virus, oh god, I don't even remember all the specifics, but basically, because of the way physical hard drives were at the time, it would effectively make your hard drive think it was using up more space than it was by adjusting by telling it needs to adjust the physical meter or whatever. Again, I don't remember the specifics, please forgive me, but effectively the result would be your hard drive space would halve, and then halve, and then halve, and then halve. What's even more scary is viruses are infectious. Infectious? Yeah, if you cough on your face. Sorry. A virus can move from one machine to another over the network. Like, say, if someone were to be punching someone to get money out of them, and the blood goes into their eye. That would be terrible. Or in their mouth. I heard about that one, Bragwin. Never had that one. Why would anyone want to make a program like that? You know what? That is a damn good question. It takes ages to type in all that out. Why would you want to destroy it, pal? People don't infect their own machines. They send the virus to someone else's.
It's like you sneezing on Mr. Godot so he catches a cold. Then he wouldn't be able to turn up in court because he's so sick. Yep, for the lulz. Let's jump down over me. Anyways, that's what a bad computer is. A bad program that causes damage. All the different viruses have names, right? Well, yes and no, but... Okay, so... Did that a little out of order, but that's okay. What? Oh, I have to go to the detention center to get to Trebienne, because that just makes perfect sense. Hello. Oh, I'm with you, Sierra Mike. I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but I've had a thought, like in a fiction, obviously. Like, let's say you did something for the lulz really damaging online. And I mean, like, actually bad. Not like saying you suck or whatever, but being legitimately toxic and screwing them over, either with a virus or with doxing or with harassment, right? Picture someone like that. And they do it, and then, like, the camera cuts to them, and they're sitting in their house like, and then the door breaks down, and someone comes in and says, "Hi, we're here for the lulz." Bam, 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 and just beats the crap out of them for, like, 5 minutes. Kind of soothing, you know? So how about you tell me what kind of trouble Mr. Elg was in? I'm sorry, sir, but we don't deal with troubleshooting here. Perhaps you'd like to speak to someone in customer service. What's she talking about? I guess I better take a shot. Miss Basil, let me ask you something. Did Mr. Elg's trouble have something to do with this? I have a lot of stuff. Here we go. What is that? A lottery ticket. There are a ton of these on the victim's table at the scene of the crime. And what is the relevance of that? The victim, Mr. Glenelg, had a gambling habit, didn't he? I don't think that's a logical conclusion based on the facts. What? Actually, yes. And can I just say that I'm actually glad about that one. Swatting is like everything I was just talking about, but so much worse. People have, in an extremely literal sense, died from swatting. Never mind how many dogs and cats have died because of swatting, too, because SWAT teams are trained and prepared to shoot animals on sight if they approach, or in any way hostile, while they're breaching. So, yeah, swatting is now a freaking high-tier, serious crime, and the equivalent of attempted murder. So, yeah. Like, I tend to be pretty anti-cop, but good on that one. Hi, Sean. Everyone dreams of being rich. Even I listen to Millionaire Radio. She's right, that is a bit weak in its own. Mr. Elf gambling wasn't restricted to the lottery, was it? Where? Oh, there they are. I know, it took a guy dying for us to make swatting a major criminal offense and start to crack down on it more. In the interest of fairness, there's actually several people in the legal industry who have been, for the last several years, have been really trying to crack down on swatting, and I do want to give them props, weirdly enough. There was actually a prosecutor sometime in Northeast U.S., I forget her name, forgive me, but someone swatted her. So, you know, she was already pursuing anti-swatting laws, so someone swatted her. You know, the cops were like, "Hi," and she was like, "Hi, yes, nope, you're dumb." And, yeah, that was just even more fuel to the fire for her case. Go figure. Anyways, the lottery horsing tickets. Bought a lot of tickets and a lot of time. It's gotta have hurt his wallet pretty bad, don't you think? Oh my god, she can sweat! She's not a robot. We're okay, guys. Maybe bad enough to be the cause of some pretty serious trouble. You are right, Glenn did have a gambling habit. You good people must not follow his example. You understand? Oh, she's a cyborg! Trust me, even if I wanted to, I don't exactly have the money to buy any. But if you win, there's no problem, is there? And Glenn had a winning ticket, didn't he? For $500,000? It's hard to imagine how he could have been in trouble then, isn't it? Well, yeah, but that was oil, Shikor. Clearly oil. That was his first stroke of good luck. He was in deep trouble before that. Mr. Elg's real problem was something more terrifying and ferocious.
Take that!
Furio Tigre, boss of a loan office called Tender Lender. Tender Lender? People with businesses should think harder before naming their offices. Like you're one to talk. Well, what do you think? Our firms are doing very well at the moment. I don't think we need to borrow money. No, I mean about Mr. Elg. You think Glenn had something to do with Furio Tigre? Yes. I'm sorry, I don't know of any connection between the two. Really? Because I have the proof right here. There it is.
Take that!
AKA the Tiger's the boss of a loan office called Tender Lender. This is who Mr. Elg met with on the day of the murder. And the only thing a loan shark would talk with him about would be his debt. No. It is true that Glenn had racked up quite a bit of debt from his gambling habit. About $100,000, I think. Wow. I heard he won the lottery, so he should have been in the clear. Shame Maggie couldn't get a bit of that luck. Okay, so the guy got lucky and won the lottery, but what if he hadn't won? What was his plan then? Well, this isn't easy to say, but he said he would use his talents to repay the money. His talents? I suspect he was talking about programming. What computer program is worth $100,000? So many jokes. So many jokes. Yeah, we're just gonna move on. Perhaps you good people should leave me so I can get back to work. No. The program in question was... MC Bomber. Honestly, $100,000 in development costs is pretty low for a video game. No. Tell me everything or be destroyed. Just like all those helpless robots in Mega Man 9. Glenn's head had more processing power than any computer. It had been infected with a gambling virus. Yeah, tell me about it. Glenn was in too deep. You mean he was in debt? Yes, $100,000 in debt. Not an easy amount to repay. So, he said he was taking on some extra work, something a bit risky. Maybe he was going to become a waitress at Très Bien. Well, so, if you don't remember, Crazy Norse, the main plot of Mega Man 9 is that several robot masters were actually due to be shut down and decommissioned because they were out of date. Dr. Wily rescued them, and they become the 8 bosses that we fight. There's a little bit more to that, but that's the basic idea there. So it's safe to say Mr. Elg was the creator of the virus, huh? The MC Bomber virus? Yes. It was a work of genius, in a bad sort of way, but still genius. Something like that would probably fetch several $1 million on the black market. Inconceivable. Gumshoe was right for a change. This date, December 3rd, that is marked in his calendar. That was his deadline for repaying his debts. He's hardly needing any of these horse tickets anymore. Where's the trash can, Nick? Seriously, Nick. God. Yeah, it's actually funny. From about Mega Man 7 and onwards, they've tried to actually have story in the Mega Man games, which I'm in favor of. It's just they're not really great stories for the most part. You know? Like, they try, God bless them, but... Like, look at Mega Man 8's story. 11 was okay. I actually liked what 11 put down, although the problem was 11 felt like the first game. You know what I mean? I talked about that during the stream. It felt like it was a soft reboot. Okay, this is now Mega Man 1, and they need to, like, they need to continue. They need to do more. Build on it. What am I doing? So, okay, so now we move to Trebian, then we move to Vitamin Square, then we move to Tender Lender. At least we might find Dr. Wily. Help them, Mega Man. Alright, Viola. It's time to find out your incredibly evil secret.
Take that!
I never actually got into Star Force, so unlike Battle Network, which I could talk about a little bit, although I'm trying not to spoil, I couldn't talk about Star Force. Okay. You said that bandage around your head was from an operation? You also said you suffered a fatal injury to the head. Yes, the operation was very difficult, apparently. Okay. Now, by fatal injury, you mean you were hurt badly, right? Did the injury in question have something to do with this? My badge! Donuts? Huh? I baked them. Homemade donuts. Have one. Jam and... I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Thanks, but no thanks. I think I'll pass. Okay, So. Moving on. I have here a car repair bill. I don't think I have achievements on the Switch version, not that I care. But anytime it says an achievement thing, I'm like, well, sure. From this, it seems pretty clear this car was involved in an accident. Well, now I need to plan a multi-year murder plot scheme to ruin your life, Django. This bill is made out to the cadaverinis? Yes, it is. I don't think I ever introduced myself. Tell me, what do the cadaverinis have to do with me? You're kidding, right?
Take that!
I know exactly who are Viola Cadaverini. You sustained that injury in a traffic accident, didn't you? Yeah, but then I'll get shot in the shoulder and I'll just leave it there. Happened about 4 months ago. I was driving in one of our family's cars when someone pulled out in front of me. It was a motorbike or something like that. I don't remember it much. Huh. Anyway, I swerved to try and avoid it, but... that explains why he's in the hawk for this. Took a blow, a bad one, to the head. I can imagine. So what happened to the person on the bike? Guessing they didn't get away with injuring the Viola Cadaverini, right? I don't know what happened to them. They ran away, or so I heard. If he'd stayed, I'd have... I would have killed everyone if he'd stayed. It was this man, wasn't it? He was the cause of your accident. It wasn't Antigre. I refuse to believe it. Yeah, no kidding, Blackwell. We collided, the motorbike and my car. But Don Tigre isn't injured at all, is he? Yeah, Scooter's frickin' wrecked. Sorry, Miss Cadaverini, but I have proof that Tigre was involved. From way earlier on in the case. There it is. Oh, hang on, gotta drink a potion. It's not exactly a motorbike, but Mr. Tigre rides around a scooter, don't he? You'll notice the front wheel is damaged, and so is the rear windshield, and shows the, or excuse me, the rear mirror, and the front windshield, and the rear tire guard. Miss Cadaverini, you know the truth, don't you? Pure evil. We've been debating which version of undead she is, Baronessa. Its repair bill was paid by Furio Tigre. The Cadaverinas have known for ages who caused the accident, haven't they? It's possible. Perhaps. Fair, Nira says. Somewhere inside me, I may know that to be true. But Don Tigre still saved my life. The operation was very complicated. It was very, very expensive. How much are we talking? Very, very, very expensive. Well, anyway, it was the tiger who paid for it, right? After I recovered, Don Tigre told me. Said he paid for the operation because he cared about me. I believe him. Really? But do you honestly believe that to be true? Do you want to know what I think? I think the reason he paid the operation wasn't because he cared about you, but because he was being threatened by the biggest mafia don in the city. But your grandfather controls a lot of dubious cash, right? And you're his beloved pride and joy. Sure, I don't know exactly how much the operation cost, but if you weren't the granddaughter of Mr. Cadaverini, do you think Mr. Tigre would have paid the money? $1 million. Gotta be real? That's less than I was thinking it would be. But it lines up with what else we've learned. 4 months ago, I was in a traffic accident. That's why I needed the operation. And I woke up and they told me it was nothing serious, a simple procedure. They said the operation cost $1 million. My grandfather ordered Don Tigre to pay $1 million in compensation. Compensation, huh? It's lingo for paying money to settle a score. Basically, pay or get into even worse trouble. Has to be related to our poisoning case somehow. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to trust what Don Tigre said. He said it had nothing to do with my grandfather being Bruto. I wanted to believe he helped me because he cared about me, not about my grandfather. Aww. But I knew that wasn't really true. What he did to get the money was evil. He said it was all for me, so I helped him. You helped him? In what way? Here, take these. I'm Bruto Cadaverini's granddaughter. He had to pay compensation. He was made an offer he simply couldn't refuse. I feel so bad for Viola. It's inexcusable. There are two things I consider inexcusable. Poisoning and betrayal. I wonder why! Only a coward would hurt people using either of these tactics. Is everything alright, Nick? We should get going. Right after we finish our espresso. I'll need to convince Viola of anything else, so I guess I can get rid of this. You know what's really... I talked about this during my Godfather rumination. An offer you can't refuse line is such a repeated cliche, but have you watched The Godfather, the first film? The way it's presented, the way it's used in that film, is terrifying. It's also only like a third of the full line. I'm going to misquote it, but you know, either your brains or your pen ink is going to touch that check. And the guy had a frickin' gun to his head. Said, so, this is the offer you can't refuse. And it's just bluntly chilling, the way it's presented. I highly recommend watching The Godfather, by the way. It is a film that has absolutely withstood the test of time, in my opinion. Well, I didn't. I haven't watched Godfather 2 or 3 in recent memory with analysis mode, so I can only speak to Godfather 1. Oh, sorry, it's a film? Yeah, it's right towards the beginning, Nero says. But Joe, I've been waiting for you to return. Mr. Armstrong? Good timing. I was hoping to find you here. We'd like to ask you a few questions. Haven't got anything to say to you, fellas. It's Xeneop. The gun's not there, Nero says. He's during the scene, I can't remember his character name, is reciting the story to her, to his beau. Babe. And as he's reciting the story, we get the inference of what happened, which was the guy put a gun to the guy's head and said, either your brains or your pen ink is going to touch this check. It made him an offer you can't refuse. Who you calling Xeneop? Ah! Come on from under the table, Maya. Hand it over. You want to play games with me? I don't recommend that. The medical papers, now! Uh-oh. I mean this? The medical bills? Miss Cadaverini trusted you. That's why she said she helped you. Forget about it. That girl's dumber than an eggplant. You want to know what's sad? I'll tell you what's sad. It ain't only her face. She thinks she's got power because she's Bruto's little girl. Now that's sad. I can't let you have these papers. Tomorrow in court, I'm going to expose what you did to get the $1 million you used to pay this off. He's crazy or something? I don't care if you want to give it to me or not. There's 2 of us here. You got that? 2. Wee. Forgive me. Désolé, I cannot argue with him. I mean, if you work with us, we'll get him imprisoned for murder, and then all your debts will go away. Something to think about. Nope. Okay. No, guess we don't have any brains here. Did all use gods. I'll be taking those papers now. Armstrong, get that lighter. Don't take it too hard, Phoenix Wright. Oh yeah, that one counts. Gumshoe! Detective? You think you're gonna stop me, copper? Beat it! Come on, Gumshoe, keep it together. You guys, get out of here. Leave this guy to me. Go, pal. And take this. If you get hurt, who's gonna look after Maggie, huh? That is the 2nd time Gumshoe has saved us from the Mafia. This is why we need him on our team, by the way. This is one of the reasons we need him on our team. One of, like, 5. Right? No, Edgeworth! Well, actually, you know what? That's okay. Edgeworth can pay him better than we can. I'm okay with that. He's not at bro status yet, but he's certainly leaning that way. I'll give you that. Okay, so we're going to use a walkthrough for this trial as part of a test. Good morning, Maggie. So, what do you think is going to happen today, sir? Yesterday's session. I'll tell you what, I'll give a plus to Gumshoe and a negative to Maggie for breaking his poor heart. So, we are cheating. We're using a walkthrough. And I'll talk more about it later, but it should be pretty obvious why I'm doing it. Breath of Fire 2, that's all I have to say right now. So we still haven't solved a single part of it yet. Yeah, but what use would the Empire have for someone interested in truth? Like, what job would Edgeworth have in the Empire? Oh yeah, of course. I saw that little flash of doubt in your eyes. Depends, Valvedrix, but I'll consider it. I wonder if Edgeworth would be judge material, now that you say that. That's interesting to think about. Huh. No, that wasn't doubt, that was determination. Why don't I believe you? It's nearly time, Maggie. Better go to the defendant's seat. Don't let me down, right? Hey, pal. Hey, detective. Quit stressing Maggie out. She doesn't need that. How do you know she was stressed? I was watching through the doorway. You look like you lost a case already. Show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Here, maybe this'll help. Have you taken up aromatherapy, too? Not a million years. Don't tell me you don't remember this thing. No, I do. It's the thing from his bottles. Yes, I know. God, I have a brain. Unlike right. Here's the flashback, for those of you who don't. We finally got the analysis results back from the lab. So, what is it? Is it the poison? Right now, pal. It's medication. Ah! That's his ear medicine. Topical use. That's the medication Glenelg used for his ruptured eardrum. What's Glenelg's medicine doing in the kitchen? What about the unidentified fingerprints? Someone screwed up, so they only had time to analyze the contents. Another hour and they might have gotten the prints, but... the virus. I'm gonna expose that guy for what he did, or my name isn't Phoenix Wright. Getting really pissed about this. It's almost like we don't like people who betray people with poison! Court's now in session. Defense is ready. Coffee is ready. Very good. Yesterday we heard the testimony of Victor Kudo. It was terrible. The witness's testimony is plagued with a number of problems. The mark of the rim showed us with his right hand. He also picked up with his left hand. Mr. Godot. Furthermore, according to the witness's account, the victim was not listening to the radio with an earpiece in his left ear, yet the victim's eardrum was ruptured, which makes him effectively deaf in that ear. It's amazing how many contradictions a single case can have. Glug. Allow me to enlighten you, Your Honor. The world, you see, keeps turning, and we must turn with it. Yes, Crazy Norse. Don't let the mysteries of yesterday mystify you today. Only losers think like that. Yeah, who cares about the past? See, Godot hated history class. You implying you've resolved these contradictions? You know the answer to these riddles? The old guy wasn't just throwing seed in here. He was throwing us off the scent. Glug. Today I'll prove it. Oh my god, Godot. Hi, guy who tried to beat me up yesterday. I'd like to accuse you of assault. I'm John Armstrong, owner of the head chef of Très Bien restaurant, Enchanted.
Of course you follow me. They all do.
Why $1.14? Anyways, let me check that. Sorry. Just confused. It doesn't save a message. Well, thank you very much, McCakes. Which I'm probably pronouncing incredibly wrong because I'm suck. But thank you for the donation. If you want to put that towards something, please let me know. For increasing priority in a future stream. There we go. Are you a woman? As you can see, I am a pert and perky gentleman. On the day of the incident, you were in Très Bien's kitchen. Isn't that right? With you, monsieur, everything feels right. Congratulations, Godot. You found your one true love. Your testimony, please. You know, I could accuse him of assaulting me, and I have Maya as a witness, and Detective Gumshoe. Now, I know that doesn't mean much, but two witnesses witnessing the same thing is what we refer to as corroborating evidence, which, legally speaking, makes it more valued when it comes to evidence as far as testimony. So, just saying. Oh yeah, I don't remember how many times White punched me. The tasing? I guess yeah. Let's not reverse track it. Anyways, when it happened, there were just 2 customers in the restaurant. I remember I was experimenting with some new art deco. Like having a large mirror in between tables, for example. Perhaps that's what the old man was looking at. The cup, the earpiece, and the glasses would have been seen in reverse then, yes? So... a grand mirror, a most enormous mirror. God, he stands weird. Like I said, his posture is the second thing that weirds me out about him. Suddenly, the mystery disappears. All I have to do is lie and make mysteries go away. I've learned my lessons well as a prosecutor. Who are the 2 customers, exactly? Myas, of course, the young man who died, and the other, a not-so-young man. You were referring to yesterday's witness, I presume? What about the other man, who was a woman? And also that guy. That's a good question. I don't actually know, Max Time. Like I said, I'm really having a hard time getting a handle on Godot. If you ask me to guess right now... So this is meta, but what I would feel right now is that he's that typical, I don't know the term for it, but it's a thing where, you know, I fight you because I want you to be stronger. You must prove your worth, right? That kind of thing. Where, you know, sure, you could just give me the power I need to save the world, but instead you have to beat the crap out of me and potentially kill me first, right? Except in this case, it's a legal battle rather than a physical fight. That's my read on him right now. I don't know what to call that, but you know what I'm talking about. So we need evidence. He's also tried a different approach for the time being. Remember I was experimenting with some new art deco. No, I didn't see where you wanted to put the donation. Did I miss it? Oh, Apollo Justice. If you want me to, I can, but that means it's not going to happen for, like, over a year. Because the list is actually locked right now. Because the list is huge right now. Like, 160 strong at the moment. It's been shrinking bit by bit, but that list needs to be about the third the size, so we kind of don't allow new games at the moment. But if you still want that, I have, like, an archive here on the side, which I shouldn't be doing, if I'm being honest. Because one other person put money towards something on that. So the list here, I'll put a link in chat right now. There. That right there is the page with everything on the list. Oh, God. If I don't finish this till Monday? Jesus Christ. Whatever. So how come you were experimenting with Art Deco? How come I never heard about it before today? You're not familiar with the language of interior design? Please stay on topic. Now, why didn't you tell this court before? I did, just a few moments ago. Excuse me, Mr. Armstrong. The deco. You're referring to some kind of decatur? No, Art Deco. It's a style of design. He's talking about interior design. Ah, yes, of course. That deco. I was trying to achieve a more effeminate look for my restaurant. I was planning those bold remodeling of the decor. It's like having a large mirror between the tables. How big of a mirror are we talking about here? Something about 4 meters wide and 2 meters high. It's a very large mirror. I was intending to install it on the ceiling eventually. Ceiling? But I decided not to go through with it in the end. Press harder. Really long, Petey Bar. If you really had such a large mirror in the restaurant, somebody would have noticed it. But there's nothing about a mirror in Mr. Kudo or Maggie Bird's testimonies. VTMB1 I can definitely do. Thank you again, sir. But...
Objection!
Objection! I'm a moron. The mirror was delivered to Tribune the day before the incident. Really? As Mr. Armstrong testified, he was carrying out some design changes. And as it turned out, he didn't actually use the mirror in the end. Because the mirror was delivered, it doesn't prove they was in the restaurant the day of the crime. Malkavian's the crazy one, right, Django? In which case, no, I do not plan to. So the person looking at Boo was enough, blah blah blah. Normally I'd expect people to know the difference between a reflection and a real object. Normally? How does normality come into this? That's lame, Trite, even for you. You trying to say if something isn't normal, it isn't possible? Where does that leave the porky-headed liar and the top-knot chick over there? And the ungodly cool guy with the mask? I don't have a top-knot. Mr. Godot is correct. A lack of normality is no basis for discounting an argument. I kind of want this guy to die. Him, not Godot. Although Godot, I definitely want to punch. So he would have seen everything in reverse? Hey, Nick, we should take a second thing. How would he phrase it? Boys wearing the same side. You can look at me wrong as his left ear, no doubt. He used the same cup. If everything is described, then everything he said on the left is actually right. And that clears up problems with testimony, or does it? It's kind of hard to believe everything with the mirror the fault of the mirror. We do to explain all the contradictions as testimony, but that just makes the situation worse. There's gotta be something else. We gotta dig deeper. So, I need to press again. Everything? He would have seen everything in reverse. Hey, Nick, we should take a second to... How do you... okay. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I lost my place in the walkthrough. My bad, my bad. That's my fault.
Objection!
Coffee cup, the earpiece, and the HMD. Let's think back after Mr. Kudo's testimony for a moment, shall we? The bow was wearing it on the same side. It was on his left ear. You claim he saw it in the mirror, but everything we've seen has shown clearly it is actually on his left side. However, you claim it's on his right side. Unfortunately, that's where we run into a monumental contradiction with the facts. So Mr. Kudo really did see everything in a mirror. Why is the HMD now on the wrong side of his head? I can't wait to see Mr. Armstrong's injured and freak-out animations. The witness generally observed the mixture of fear, though he would expect the victim's eyepiece to have been over his right eye.
Objection!
Objection! I'm an idiot. Cool, but an idiot. Try it, you should have a taste of this bitterness. It'll calm you down in no time. Talk about coffee or something different? You don't understand the way the witness thinks. You remember this, I presume? I broke the vase. Sorry. You mean a sworn testimony? Yeah, the old man has a very grievous habit, other than throwing seeds. The more of an impression something makes, the more muddled his mind makes it. And what's the most striking thing about Mr. Elg? It's the victim's eyepiece. And that's my point. The old man strikes again. HMD made a big impression on him. I saw the earpiece and those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh yes, they were both on his left ear. Do you hear his left ear? Well, Trite. I really thought he was old seedy there for a minute. That Godot's good. Enough! Mr. Grey yesterday's witness is irresponsibly rash in much of his testimony. Looks like you boil of a contradiction just found as a rash. We found no contradictions. Fill us in, Mr. Armstrong. We're all ears. And then suddenly, just... like, I had no real umbrage against this guy until he decided to beat the crap out of me. Because of freaking... God damn it, dude. So, is everything sitting comfortably? You know what? I'm just going to zip through this. The mirrors, there, see, I saw that. Yep, okay, yep, that's great. Yep, From the table next to the victim, Mr. Kudo could have seen the victim in the mirror. Glug. We can keep up, except for the guy breaking out in a cold sweat over there again. I hate this guy. Yeah, I kind of do too, but I'm not sure. He said nothing about the mirror, of course. Okay, well, cross-examination. The mirror was in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two halves. So, the mirror was here, correct? Really? Because I know if I were you, I'd put a mirror there. I wouldn't put a mirror there. It would be in the way. Look who's talking, Trite. You're obstructing my view, among other things. This is my seat. Trebien's charm is that it gives you the impression that you're the only customer. Temporarily placing a mirror in that spot would hardly be in the way. Unlike you, trite. Tell you, monsieur, the mirror was there in the middle of the restaurant. I'm not lying, even though I'm an evil, evil man who must die. What would that be? Oh, look how mean you lead towards me. I always attract the younger boys. Maybe I should keep you in suspense a little longer. Mr. Armstrong, tell the court what you know at once. I attract the older ones, too. I know, handsome. Shall I tease you, too? Well, we're not in the triple digits yet, Django. We're getting there, though. I'm already seeing a very hot someone, so I'm afraid you'll be waiting for a long time. But she has mocha cream skin and cappuccino perfume. I will tell you, there was only one seat from which you could have seen. There was the seat... That was the seat at the table. This is kind of hard to read out loud. Next to the victims. That was where the old man was sitting. So why can you only see the victim from that particular seat? It's obvious. Look at the plans. You'll understand. The victim would have been reflected in the mirror like this. If you're sitting at the table next to him, you would not see everything. After the incident occurred, I moved the mirror so it was not in the way. Did you move the mirror while Mr. Kudo was off calling the police? Yes, exactly. I carried it out in the restaurant then. You moved a huge mirror like that all by yourself? What can I say? I know how to pick things up, handsome. Yeah, like crippling debt. Guto's actually laughing at something. Well, given the witness's physique, it is probably possible. Oh, I could probably do that. Naturally, I did not touch anything else. Are you sure about that? I touched nothing except the mirror. Mr. Wright, is there something the witness said that doesn't match the crime scene? Yeah. Suffering from a case of heartburn, trite? I'm pretty sure you are, Mr. 17 cups of coffee per case. Add a few drops to your coffee and voila. Frankincense and myrrh in coffee is not something I want to drink. Nobody mentioned anything about a really large mirror. So yeah, there's no mirror. Kai rule Valem, I agree. Whoop, 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 whoop. No, I'm never playing any other games ever, PD Bar. This is it! This is the last stream. See if the evidence contradicts what the witness have heard in your testimony, Your Honor. Yep. Yes, this photo clearly shows something that theoretically should not exist. What do you mean? You sound like you're describing yourself, trite. The defense would be pleased clarifying. Hell, even I could tell this without looking at the walkthrough. It's the frickin' vase. They're like, oh, he totally was sitting there. No, he's not. Look, vase. What possible connection does this have to the witness statement? Your Honor, I'm telling you there should have been no vase in this table. Because it very clearly contradicts this piece of evidence. The only testimony he gave, we accepted. There's one thing that clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase that was on the table where he was sitting. And yet, the court can see there's an unbroken vase on the table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not, in fact, sitting at the table next to the victim at all. Don't be an idiot, trite. That's impossible. The seat's the only one Kudo could have seen the reflection from. Exactly. There's only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror in Trevienne that day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie. Also, you tried to beat me up yesterday at the behest of a mob boss, so you know there's that, too. Obviously, the witness cleaned up the vase, while the police were taking their time to get to the crime scene. Unfortunately, Mr. Godot, that doesn't quite work for me. Mr. Armstrong already testified to the contrary. In his own words, I did not touch anything else except the mirror. Glug, 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 glug. Well, witness, what do you have to say for yourself? Sniffle, sniffle. That's right. In light of this revelation, we return to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in an ear which he couldn't hear? You only get one shot in life. There's no turning back. You want to claim the mirror wasn't there, Trite, then this problem is all yours. How do you explain what the old man saw? So I've actually been thinking about this for a bit myself, too. I will admit I didn't put the pieces together until I glanced at the walkthrough, though. But ever since Maggie mentioned that there was a guy there, and a different customer other than the old guy there, well, that made it pretty clear that this whole thing was staged, specifically so they'd have a witness that they could use to frame her, right? And considering the guy running the restaurant is completely in on it, that would be pretty easy to set up. The case is riddled with contradictions, yet there's one simple answer that clears them all up. The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events. Yep. Bingo. Scroll down a bit. The victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenn Elg at all. It was an imposter, a phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike the victim, there's nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake. I'm gonna come up with some total bullcrap. Oh, no, he's gonna do the spit take. I admit I like his spit take. I'll give you guys that. Settle down or I'll clear the courtroom. Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear out of here? What did you say? Trite, are you saying that Mr. Kudo saw was a setup? Yes. Someone pretended to be Glenn Elg and acted out the whole coffee poisoning. All for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one Victor Kudo.
Objection!
Get real, Trite. Why would anyone want to do that? Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was the serving girl brought him, but she put something in it. It's hard to believe, but there was one and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo the fake poisoning. To show Maggie Bird and the act of poisoning the coffee.
Objection!
You insinuating the waitress in the old man's story was fake as well? True, there were no other customers in the restaurant at the time, but I didn't figure it out, Mortal, like I said. So, I suck. It's also true the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening. That's right. Well, witness? If your restaurant really was the scene of such theatrics, you would have known about it. Oh, this is most difficult for me. No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You are under oath, after all. Was there, in fact, a phony très bien that day? The defense demands Mr. Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happens. Defense's request for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain in detail the events in the restaurant that day. Okay. That poor Rose. No, I guessed the mafia thing immediately, but I didn't guess the double murder scene thing. The victim came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. There were no other customers. When he got word he won the lottery, he became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. There was no time for a phony to do the acting. Oh, for God's sakes. No mirror in the restaurant? No. I lied because I wanted this mess cleared up quickly. What you have just done is to commit perjury. Hey, they keep mentioning that. I will decide how to punish you later. Yeah, congratulations. You are already in deep. So, you can pretend that in for a penny, in for a pound is sound logic. Pro tip, it is not. Or you can tell me the frickin' truth. Now, considering you have already lied to me a second time, I guess we know which direction you're going with this. The victim came to my restaurant alone. Yeah, if you ever win the lottery, don't be like, I won the lottery! That is an extremely easy chance. Like, if you're out in the open, there's a legitimate chance that someone will actually mug you for that on the spot. Which is funny, because in modern day, by the way, because of the way that lottery tickets can be processed and proved, there's a pretty decent chance that if someone else took your lottery ticket and tried to turn it in, they wouldn't actually get it, because they could prove they're not the person who won. Now, they usually only pull out those kind of stops for the actual lottery winners, but if you win the lottery, if you get the jackpot, you have to go through steps to prove it's you and prove it's legitimate. And yes, I've looked into it. Shut up. Best to be prepared. Was he alone at his table? Yes, I saw him from the kitchen. Yet the defendant remembers it differently. She swears there was another man at the table.
Objection!
Unfortunately for you, Trite, yesterday's witness also testified the victim was alone. You know, seeing you squirm like that reminds me of a certain coffee's bittersweet bite. What kind of coffee's he been drinking? It's not coffee, it's love. It's love that's bittersweet. And yeah, you gotta go through it and get it right the first time, otherwise, sucks to be you. By old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct? Yes, he comes in for my special coffee. I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience. You make me so happy. I said it was worth one sip. Nothing more. So, Mr. Kudo arrived in the restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask more about his arrival in detail. How many minutes after? So you're saying that not much time elapsed between when the victim and Mr. Kudo arrived. That is correct. But that still leaves the possibility that something happened in that gap of time. By your collection, how much time would you say elapsed? Approximately 2 minutes, I would say. 2 minutes? That's it? It seems unlikely it could happen in such a short time. There were no other customers. So your only customers were Mr. Kudo and the victim?
Objection!
Oh, for God's sakes. How many times do you need to ask the same thing, Trite? You never catch me drinking the same blend twice. You have 107 blends. You need closer to 1 billion if you want to do that. Anyways, you're trying to establish the presence of a phony victim. You're wasting your time. You can't grind birdseed into my coffee if you catch my drift. There's a hole somewhere. I'm sure of it. When he got word he won the lottery, he became very excited. You see him? No, I was in the kitchen, but I heard him. I remember shouting, $500,000. Presumably the defendant heard that too, correct? Maggie? She looked like a poor little frightened dove. What of Mr. Kudo? The old man choked on some birdseed that got stuck in his throat. Seems we now have yet another incident on our hand. So approximately 5 minutes later, the poisoning occurred. And what were you doing at that point? Without customers, you must have had time to kill. I'm a multi-talented woman, monsieur. What do you mean? There's a renowned chef, Jean Armstrong, and a tragic poet, Cloris Armstrong. Clarice? I was writing a poem, an angry tale of a chef and $500,000 of debt. Cooking for a man who won $500,000 on the lottery. It's called Pourquoi. It means why. Actually, it means because why, if you want to get down to it. There's no time for the phony to do acting. You mean you contacted the police as soon as the incident occurred? I asked the phone man to call from a payphone. By your own argument, Trite. The purpose of the phony victim was so the old man would see it. In other words, once the incident occurred, this opportunity would completely disappear. Bien, it seems the shadow of doubt has been lifted. Someone's impersonating Mr. Elgin refused to be oblivious after I was the whole time. I mean, that's what his phony stages act. Well, we know for sure once I have a hole in his testimony. By old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct? It comes from my special coffee. I drink your coffee, it's special, blah 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 blah. What time was it? Out of curiosity, about what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived? Oh, I cannot remember. I believe we were told by a witness yesterday. Crime was reported at 2:25 by a kind of scary old man. Does that perhaps jog your memory? It was about 20 minutes after he arrived, so the victim must have arrived between 2 and 2:10. Just after 2, huh? Thank you for your help jogging my memory. You're wonderful. Ha ha ha. Time of day will be added to the witness's testimony. Merci bien. That's French, isn't it? humming a song. I remember the old man arrived not long after, just after 2 p.m. Are you absolutely sure about the time? When I think really hard, I'm sure it was just after 2, yes. It's the time I stopped serving the lunch menu. Quite right. I always break for lunch when the restaurants are serving their specials. I've been known to wind up in a case early just to make it on time. That's not funny. Oh, would you look at that? It's almost lunchtime. That's not funny. I'm afraid I finally got you, Mr. Armstrong. Okay, what do you mean? At the time in question, the victim was listening to the radio with his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week they announced the winning numbers on $500,000 lottery ticket. Yeah. I can't see the problem. I wonder. You say the victim arrived at the restaurant at 2, correct? Yes. I know it was that time I was just finished serving the lunch. Get to the point, right? That show is broadcast live at 1:30, and it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life. It's on the air at 1:30? Now, supposedly the victim made some noise when it was announced he had won. So, I don't believe his cry of joy could have occurred after 2. Because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that point in time. I noticed that, actually, Django. This victim we've been told about has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to the radio on the wrong eardrum, catching a show that was already over. There's only one conclusion you could draw from these facts. The victim was an imposter acting out the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder. Yes, there were 2 Glenelgs in Trevienne that day. The real Glenelg, now dead, having been poisoned by the real killer, and the phony Glenelg, acting out the events for Mr. Kudo to witness. It seems that way. I mean, if that wasn't the case, how would you explain the time discrepancy? By being stupid. Sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song. According to your imaginative theory, it's just now after 2... Hang on. The autopsy report, which I actually glanced at earlier, said he died somewhere between 1:30 and 2:30. Pretty big area there. The phony Elg is performing a bit for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. Can you explain where the real Glenelg is? I don't believe I have to spell it out for the court. However, at that time the real Glenelg was already dead. Certainly obvious conclusion. Plug. Thank you, Trite. That's exactly what I was hoping you'd say. What? Now, I presume you can prove this theory of yours, because the burden of proof is on you, of course. A missing corpse? According to the old man's testimony, there's only one customer there. If that customer is the phony, then where did the killer hide the body of the real victim? That's a dumb question. If your theory is to stand up and examine, you must provide us proof by answering the question, where did the killer hide the body? No conjecture. Let's some facts for once. Show the piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden. I'm gonna go to save. But, I mean, yeah, the kitchen! Duh! Gadurr! We know he's in on it because of... Even if... okay, obviously we know he's in on it because he's in debt and he tried to beat us up. But even if we just look at the facts in the course room, he is clearly in on it. Actually, no, Cord, but I'm sorry you had to deal with that. Well, Mr. Wright, the court will not hear your theory. Where was the body? Inside the... It would have been too dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously, the body must have been stashed inside. Where can he keep it in? Perhaps you would like to show us in the plans. Yes, Your Honor. The exact location is... in the front door. Bomb, bomb, bomb. Take that! Body was hidden here. I see. Nice supposition. The real question is, can you back it up? What evidence do you have that it was hidden there? Actually, ironically, I got that evidence just a minute ago. Mr. Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle? No, 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 no. I've never seen that ugly bottle in my life. I only use the best bottles, the highest quality. Yeah, they're pretty ugly. Where was that bottle found? Interestingly enough, it was found in the kitchen of Très Bien. I only ever use these bottles for aromatherapy orders. No, 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 no. This bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil. It contains a medication. I'm sure everyone remembers, right? That he finished a clinic and was given medication that day. You can't be serious. The defense had the contents of the bottle analyzed, and I have the lab results right here. The contents of the bottle match the prescription that was given to Mr. Elg. Glenn Elg's murderer hid the body in the restaurant of the kitchen. That could be, Nero says. Also, in the first two games, especially the second game, oftentimes he clearly hadn't figured it out. Like, his dialogue shows that he was just randomly guessing. You know, just kind of stumbling his way to victory. Whereas here, it feels like he's actually making logical deductions. That's part of it, too, I think. Anyways, at which time this bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen? Yes, you know what I'm talking about. I say it was you who hid the body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client, Maggie Bird, however. You were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back. No. Extraordinary development. Did you witness? Did you murder Mr. Glenegg? No, I could not do such a horrible thing. I could beat someone up for a I'm not letting that go. Wait, what? Godot. The bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. It's one of my rules. You have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now? I have diarrhea every day. I like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I like to take them down with my empty cup. Listen up, Chef. How about a brand new flavor in here, my H-deficient friend? Pardon, you must hear me out. It's a trap. Listen to me, please. You... No. Yo hablo español, Mr. Armstrong, and por favor is Spanish. I'm only going to ask you once. Did you do it? None. 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 Absolutely none. Let's hear it. You've got one shot. Witness, the court will permit you to make one final statement. If you lie to oath again, Mr. Godot's coffee mug awaits you. As does my gavel. Okay, it's clear. Why did I say these movies? I got a bad feeling about this. It's true, I hid the body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there's a reason I couldn't refuse. But I did not kill him, I swear. So you're just an accomplice to murder. No, really. If someone murders someone and then you help them hide the body, I mean, I cannot say or I will be erased. Try a different question then. When Mr. Elk died, was he really the only person at the table? There was... That's true. There actually is... Thank you for pointing that out, Baronessa. There's legal precedent for... I forget what it's called, but I usually hear it referred to as the gun-to-the-head law. Basically, if someone has you under duress or threat and forces you to do something, then that can be a legal evidence in your favor. That you are... Basically, you are substantially less legally liable for stuff you do under duress. That is valid. Ugh. Can I cross-examine now? It's true, I hid the body in the kitchen. Hey, let's get a quick save in. Did you carry the body by yourself? Yes, I carried him and carried Maggie too. Maggie too? When she saw the victim collapse, she fainted. I could not leave her there. Why'd you hide the bodies? The man forced me to do it. I had no choice. Very well, Valvedrix. I must now kill Django. It is the only way. Ahem. So the man, who was he? No, I cannot say. I fear for my life. He really is scared. I just have to put the words in his mouth. Yeah. I don't know. Ask Valvedrix. She's the one putting up the hit on you. I had to go along with him because there was a reason I could not refuse. And the reason would be what? You know. Surely you cannot expect a young maiden to talk about such an embarrassment. You're a bit too old and a bit too male to get along with that. I did not kill him. I swear it. You must believe me. Listen, Django, I either had to play Greedfall or kill you. It was an easy answer. So you're claiming that all you did was hide the bodies, is that correct? Yes, that's right. If we're able to believe you, you must tell the court everything. You must make clear the identity of the man who ordered you to do this. He's already confessed as much. You might as well stop dancing on the real issue. Yeah, but he doesn't want to tell us. Then sock it to him. I wonder who it could possibly be. Couldn't be this guy. Let's end this dance of Ring Around the Rosie, Mr. Armstrong. This is the man you've been referring to. Who is that? I feel like I've seen him before. Yeah, I don't know, maybe about a month ago in court. This man is Furio Tigre. He's the manager of a loan officer called Tender Lender. There's no point trying to hide the truth anymore, Mr. Armstrong. I know you couldn't go against Tigre, at least not while he had this on you. Where's the debt thing? So we got that earlier. Oh god, where is it? Is that it? Yep, that's it. $500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. Your great crime is you're a moron. Damn it, now I have to frame Lore Reloaded for killing... Oh my god. You had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything this man told you. Yes, it is as you say. The Tiger told me he was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. On the day in question, he was meeting the victim to demand to repay his loan. I don't know why it appeared like that. Excuse me, I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to do. I had no choice. I carried the body in the unconscious... That is not how you spell that word. Maggie out of the dining area. And into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget what I had seen. I think now we can safely say the man who forced your hand was Mr. Furio Tigre. I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison and the lottery ticket were found in the defendant's apron pocket. Is that what you're doing as well? No, I knew nothing about that. Making it look like it was Maggie who had done it. I was not. It's despicable. Mr. Godot, you will summon this Furio Tigre as a witness. I doubt that can be arranged today, so we will adjourn for now. Shake my head. Glug, glug. Really, Crazy Norris? Yeah, that might be worth my time and attention. Do you take carrots? I have a lot of really good carrots. I washed them myself. 30 minutes. The trial will go on. I'll see to it myself. I need half an hour to get the guy on the stand, not a minute more. Because I'm cool, and also kind of frustrating. Don't sit back and relax yet. Oh god, he's Vegeta. No one knows that the chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial could still go either way. Request is granted. Oh, excuse me. Really hazardous. Here, I'll jam a few into my eyes, see what's happening. Oh, God! See you around, Dakota. So we're finally going to see the tiger on the stand. We've almost got this case won now. I wish I could agree. When I cross-examined Mr. Armstrong just now, he said he was doing what the tiger told him to. But Godot picked up on it. He pointed out that without proof, we don't know if what he testified is the truth. You mean you think Mr. Armstrong was lying? I don't know, but if that's the line the prosecution takes, we could be in trouble. The feeling we don't have the case-making evidence we're gonna need. Hey, pal, I got the case-making evidence you need. Yeah, that's the pot calling the kettle black, Mr. Top Knot. I'm not a top knot. Never mind about the hair. Just calm down, alright? Well, we have 2 more trials after this one, PD Bar. But it varies from game to game. 1 had 5, 2 had 4, and 3 has 5. I don't know past this. You gotta do something. Anything you need me to do. Anything! I'm gonna take a jog down to the precinct. I could get some prints analyzed. An hour? The trial will be reconvened by then. But Nick, we still don't have a really decisive piece of evidence. Without some kind of trump card, we'll be really stuck. You said you'd get fingerprint analysis done. In that case, would you mind checking prints on this for me?
Take that!
We're gonna go... Station Can you find prints on this? Yeah, that's the small bottle I gave you. Yeah, I think it's time we solve the last mystery of who the prints on it belong to. Sure thing, pal. Actually, that's been gnawing on me too. Just make sure you don't lose those on the way back. Okay, that's cool. Pretty much the final showdown. Let's do it. The case of the fake Phoenix is about to get heavy. Court will now reconvene. Mr. Godot, did you find this Firo Tigre? I even tamed him for you. It was a 3-cup job. No problem. Tamed? Pretty lively. Careful. He still bites. Very well. Please show Mr. Tigre to the stand. Witness, state your name. Oh my god! Maya? Maya. What'd you say to me? Nothing. I didn't say nothing. Honest. You could have guessed that fear would induce a bad Brooklyn accent in the judge. Oh my god, he's always been part of the Mafia. That would explain so much. I got business to take care of, you hear me? So who the hell called me into this hole? Was it you, Spiky? No, of course not. It was the judge. Your Honor? Oh dear, I seem to have dropped my pen. It's down here with Rosulia's subscription. Don't mind me, carry on as normal. Why are they so scared of this guy? We're doomed. Maybe you didn't hear me. Who the hell was it that called me in here? Thank you very much, Rosulia. Much obliged as always, sir. Thank you. If you know where you want to put that one, please let me know. So far, I agree with what someone said earlier. This is clearly filler, but it's decent filler. I don't think it's really positive-worthy, but it's alright. It's alright. I'm with it. I'm with it. There's some... I'm reminded of the other filler case, which had some good and had some bad. So it's just kind of there in the end. There's no need to shout. We can all hear you. What do you say? There's no point in struggling. You're caught in a snare. The relentless snare of the law. Also, we've got 12 guys with guns pointed at you, so... I agree, Delbach. Filler is good. Filler can be good, I should clarify. There's always something good with a breather episode. And I'm the one who hauled you in. Too cool. Oh, for God's sakes. Don't let him get the better of you, Nick. Let's start with the basics. You know about the incident in question, correct? I don't know nothing about no stinking incident, mask boy. You mean you didn't attend the previous trial of Maggie Bird? Maggie who? I got more important things to do than watch courtroom dramas. Of course. Maybe you can give your testimony then? Please tell us about what you did on the day of the murder. Phoenix Wright. You was the one who set this up, didn't you? You was gonna regret the day you ruffled the tiger's fur. You hear what I'm saying? Get a grip, Nick, she says while hiding under the freaking desk. I don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up with business in December last year. Spent all of my time in my office. I got whales lined up to borrow cash from Tenderlander every single day. You just want to check my alibi? Just ask Violetta. Ah, found my pen. Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine. Oh, please, witness, if you would refrain from shouting. I know the kind of games that guy in blue plays. That lowlife ain't no lawyer. He just punches away at stupid details till he wins. It's what? I guess that wouldn't make me a lawyer. It would make me a detective. Listen up, Smarty. Every time you ask me something that doesn't relate to this case, I'm gonna bill you $50,000, and you're gonna borrow the cash from me. And don't think it ain't gonna hurt when you tangle with the tiger. Fair enough, M. Wazer. M. Wazer? I'll have a good spectator sport. Just a minute, that's not really not... This witness is... How can I put it? A hungry timer roaming the urban jungle. Get on his bad side, he'll bite everyone's head off. Yours too. Very well. I have no choice but to impose a penalty system. You's better be listening. I said I got business to take care of. Big business. If I don't spit now, I ain't gonna catch my bus. Court will impose a penalty for irrelevant pressing of the wet testimony. Got it. Use on the walkthrough. No excess pressing. You sure about that? We talked about 1 month ago, you know. You see these teeth? That's how sharp my secretary is. Sharp? She writes everything in my scheduler. December, mainly in the office. That's what it says, so that's where I was. Seems like a rather sketchy schedule. Oh, for God's sakes. It's the important thing. Press harder. Mr. Tigre, what do you want? Actually, I agree with you. In fact, I cannot be the only one to point out that the tiger's greatest skill is the exact same one Phoenix usually has. Bluffing. Right? He's got a lot of points in his bluffing skill, and so he constantly portrays himself as some big, terrifying person. But he's not, and we've already seen that.
Objection!
This is a dead end, try it, you know it. Remember the rules. No, it's essential we establish the witness's alibi accurately. I agree. The victim was killed on December 3rd. Were you in the office that day, too? Maybe you ain't listening. Course I was. I never set foot outside. I had a meeting all day with a bunch of cats wanting to do business with me. Hey, Anselmo. Hope you're doing well, wherever you are. I ain't never seen that young kid before. I do believe the witness's last statement was important. Please add it. Yes, the court asks you to add the statement to your testimony. Don't let the animal beat you. Day you was talking about in the office, I never saw that kid before. Where's that stupid? There it is. Mr. Tigre, you claim you didn't know Mr. Glenelg. But it appears Mr. Elg knew you. What? Mr. Elg left a note on his calendar. Meet with the tiger. Date, December 3rd. That's the day of the murder. So, Mr. Tiger, I submit that you did indeed know Mr. Glenelg. Because on the very day of the incident, you met with him. God, this suit is terrible. Not bad. You's actually not bad. Better than you. I was just messing with you to see how good you were. That's one compliment I could do with that. Plus, he's lying through his teeth. Witness, please remember you're under oath. Lies will not be tolerated. You call me a liar? Is that what you're doing? Actually, I take it back. This isn't bluff. This is intimidate. He's a barbarian with high intimidate skill. He's level 1. But you're saying your claim to have never seen the kid before is the truth. Said I'm dead serious. You'd better believe that's the truth. Then I'd say that gives me time to enjoy another cup of pure black magic. That is, while you testify to the court again. Oh yes, would you mind indulging the court? You actually never met the victim? That's gotta be a lie right there. Time I nailed this guy. I ain't no liar. I never met Glenelg. There was some lame guy with that name, though. Wanted to borrow cash with me. Set up the meeting with the guy at my office. I went around for him, but he ain't never showed. I ain't never been to the Trilogy joint. You's here? I see. That seems perfectly logical. I've heard it's pretty hard to keep appointments when you're dead. Very well. Begin cross-examination. Didn't I tell you got a big deal? Yada, 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 yada. I have to be careful. Still gonna deliberately not save, out of pure arrogance. I never been to that joint. Really? Well, you know... Mr. Tigre, is there something you'd like to tell the court about these matches? Matches? What are you talking about? We found them in your office. They're from that restaurant. If you've really never been to Trebienne before, what was a book of matches doing on your desk? I know, right, Kira White Noise? You've been snooping around my stuff too, boys going. By the way, nice fake tan while we're on the subject. Ain't no broad controlling me. Order. Well, witness, I think it's time you started telling us the truth, don't you? For God's sakes. I ain't no pussycat. I don't go back on what I said. But okay, I was at the joint that day. So you just went back on what you said. But listen good, alright? I might have been there, but I still never met the kid. Oh, for God's sakes. Glug. Looks like an order just came in for another testimony. It's this close to proving it was him. He did meet Glenelg that day. He did put poison in his coffee. He must have. Okay, fine. I'll get another save. I don't want to redo all that. I was supposed to meet with the kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. Figured the place wasn't hot already. It was gonna be, so I split. I heard the cop sirens on my way out and went straight back to my office. Yeah, I noticed that, floating triangles. Like I said, I'm having a hard time getting a handle on Godot, although I've already given my theory on him. So, Mr. Wright, cross-examination, please. Yes, Your Honor. Hold it! No more stupid questions. Anytime Trite presses you on something irrelevant, I'll see he pays a penalty. Mr. Godot, that's my job. Well, maybe you should do it, then. Your job is to slam that little hammer of yours and call a guilty verdict. So do it. Yes, sir. Special Express ain't cheap, right? Just so you knows, because yours paying. I was supposed to meet with the kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. Oh, where did it end up? I have a lot of evidence for this friggin'... Oh, there it is. There it is. You're something of a loan-collecting pro, aren't you? No one escapes the tiger's clutches. Well, I'm something of a lie-detecting pro. No one escapes the Phoenix's clutches. I think it's time we got something straight. Once they tried a new line of irrelevant questioning. These are the floor plans of the crime scene. If you say you were standing at the entrance, from there your field of vision would be covered something like this. The witness would have a clear view of everything. Isn't that what I just said? Saw the back of the kid's head. Unfortunately for you, that's not possible. If the court would think back, you'll remember that between each of the tables is a big old partition. Now, look at the plans again. The truth is painfully obvious. From the entrance, the field of vision of any customer walking in ends here. So, from the entrance, you wouldn't have seen the victim's seat. But you did see the victim that day, because you met with him! Wrong! Have you forgotten the old man's testimony? The victim was also alone at his table. That's weak sauce. The defense just proves the point to be moot. The victim witnessed by Mr. Kudo was not Glenelg, but a fake. In order to have Mr. Kudo falsely testify, the real killer posed as the victim And he had killed to act out a charade. That will do. This trial's gone on long enough without the obvious questions being answered. Who exactly was the real killer? You say the killer murdered him, and the killer personated him. Identify the real criminal. Let's see. Oh, I can't incriminate the judge? Aw. Okay, fine, whatever.
Take that!
Obviously, it was this dude. No one else could have done it. Well, witness? Now that's cute. You think you can pin this on the tiger? Maybe you don't understand, so I dare you to say it again. Come on, you got the guts? You can't threaten me, Mr. Tigre. It's the defense. Go ahead, tell the witness, Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright? Sounds to me like it must have been you, old man. You've got guts, I'll give you that. Mr. Wright, don't leave me alone to handle this. Oh god, you're right, Kira White Noise. He's a badly built bard, too. Perhaps I can end this embarrassment. Let's just go back over Mr. Kudo's testimony one more time. The old man didn't see the victim. Oh, no. The Silvering girl brought the Giavaccino, but she put something in it. There's no question about it. She very convictedly put white powder in. Was the victim he saw the real victim or not? That doesn't matter. The fact remains he saw the accused put the poison into the coffee. Oh, so it was the waitress who... Very impressive, Mr. Godot. Waiting for my absence to launch your attack. Plug. Found your pen at last, Mr. Trite. It was in my pocket. But anyways, Mr. Kudo witnessed two people that day. He saw the victim, the supposed Miss Glenelg, and the waitress, Mr. Glenelg, and the waitress from behind. I think the conclusion's obvious. This Glenelg was really the killer in disguise. And surely it's possible the waitress was also part of the show. Didn't we establish this already? The defendant, Miss Bird, fell unconscious immediately after the incident. So someone used her fainting to hatch an elaborate plan to pin the murder on her. What earth was it? The incredibly obvious choice. Who's this woman? Her name is Viola Cadaverini. She's an employee of Tenderlander. Who's making a big mistake. Do you know whose Violetta's grandfather is? We better be going home in an armored truck tonight, if you know what I mean. Stop shaking, Nick. Where was I? Oh yes, the defendant, Miss Bird, has stated the following. Well, when I took the coffee over to the victim's table, it's true there was another customer in the restaurant. But she was sort of creepy, and she had a cackling laugh. There are just too many contradictions in this case. The second man at the victim's table, nobody but her saw. The earpiece worn by the left victim. Blah, 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 the radio show, half an hour later. There's only one logical explanation. The whole incident took place twice. Once for real, once for show. Mr. Firo de Tigre, the only person who committed the crime, is you. Witness, what do you got to say? That's cute, but I got one last piece of health left. He was alright. I could do with a guy like you around. Okay, I'm in on this game. I'm gonna have to charter a jet to get to my meeting now, but I'm gonna give you one more thing to think about before I go. You've got it all wrapped up nice, alright? If you paid me, Baron, but you've missed out on one real important thing. I am, as ever, your dancing monkey. I was in the joint that day, and I met the kid, too. But I couldn't have poisoned him, you hear? Do you really just expect us to believe that now? What a troublemaker. Is it really, Velvetix? Looks like we're going to need another one for the road. Plug. One more steaming hot cup of testimony. Alright, let's do it. What happened that day? Yeah, I loaned out cash. About 100 grand. That day, we was due to have a little chat. Kid had hit his payback date, see? So anyway, he tells me he's got no way to pay up. I'm about to flatten the guy, and he starts screaming, "Yes, I won $500,000. He got real lucky, you know, real lucky." that waitress hadn't done what she'd done, everything would have been over. I know, right, Kira? Yeah, well, you's got the VIG to take into account. Interest builds up fast, you know. It's faster than fast. $100,000 is twice his principal. The repayment deadline was December 3rd. Yeah, he was one lucky kid. Got $500,000 just in time. So I ain't have no reason to kill the kid. And if I ain't got no motive, you ain't got no case. He has to have a motive, but what could it possibly be? So I loaned the cash. That day I was due to have a little chat. The kid had a payback scene. So anyways, it doesn't pay up. He's flattened. Yes, I won. If the waitress hadn't done anything done, everything would have been over. The waitress? To go with the glasses in the defendant's chair. Who else could I mean? She hadn't gotten in the way. Things would have been bada bing, bada boom. Over and done with. We should push a little harder on this. What do you mean things would have been over with? You saw over there what? I'm talking about the cash. I was there to get my $100,000 back. That's all. I'm a businessman. It was all coming together before the waitress got in the way. As far as I can tell from the testimony, other than recouping his loan, he had no motive for the killing of the victim. Witness, you'll amend your testimony. I was after the $100,000. I didn't have any other reason to kill the guy. No other reason. Nope, 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 nope. Nope, nope, nope.
Objection!
So you just intend to get $100,000 back, right? I loaned the guy the cash, so that's my right. Yeah, I noticed that floating. Fortunately for Mr. Elg, I don't believe the $100,000 is what you were really after.
Objection!
What are you getting at, Trite? What else would a moneylender be after than money? Oh, the moneylender's after money, but money in a totally different league. The kind of money that a single disc like this would fetch. What is that? A computer virus, Your Honor. A virus called the MC Bomber. Computer virus? What does one of those do? Computer virus is a program that wreaks havoc on the insides of a computer. A computer? What does one of those do? I'll explain it later. Right now, this is the important point. A virus like the MC Bomber would be worth several $1 million in the black market. $1 million? Lending money with no hope of ever seeing repayment would normally be bad for business. But in this case, the very fact that Glenn Elk had no way to repay his money is crucial. See, Glenn Elk was a programmer, a highly skilled programmer. That skill was the collateral Mr. Elg put up in order to borrow the money.
Objection!
You're trying to suggest the witness's motive was to get a hold of the program? Exactly. The witness may have poor fashion sense, but he's no means an idiot, right? A man like him could get his hand on $1 million without resorting to murder. Of course he could, provided he had the time. What if he needed the money right then? Well, when the pressure's on, the luxury of choice tends to disappear. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Seems to have a long conclusion. Would you care to share it with us? Why did he need the evidence? Or, I mean, the money. Where's the... Oh, is that it? Yep.
Take that!
In December of last year, you found yourself in need of a huge amount of money. About 6 months ago, you were involved in a traffic accident, weren't you? An accident involving a car and a scooter in which a young woman was injured. She was taken to the hospital where she underwent surgery. Damn it, Berneza. How much of this do you know? These medical papers document the treatment of the young woman in question. According to these, her operation cost $1 million. And yet when the payment was due last month, you somehow paid in full. Preposterous sum. Someone should sue those HMOs. I agree. I don't want to pay a bill like that. The medical association got wind of it. The hospital went up to as a morgue. But Mr. Tiger had no choice but to pay. Because his very life depended on it. Roar. Order, order. Say his life depended on it? Yeah, no kidding. Simply because the injured woman was none other than Viola Cadaverini. Did you say Cadaverini? Uh-huh. Bruto Cadaverini, mob boss in charge of all underworld activities in the city, and doting grandfather to his precious Violetta, also known as Viola Cadaverini. Your life was in danger unless you paid compensation to the boss, correct? It makes sense. You were desperate to acquire the $1 million that he demanded of you. So desperate, in fact, you decided to sacrifice Glenelg's life to pay your debt. On the day of the murder, Mr. Tigre's sole intention was to get his hands on the CD. Glenelg had no way of paying back the $100,000, and Mr. Tigre knew it. But then a miracle happened. The kind that Mr. Tigre would prefer to say never happened, but he can't, and neither can I. A lottery win? Exactly. At the 11th hour, Mr. Elg won $500,000 in the lottery, which left Mr. Tigre with no way to get his hands on the all-important CD. At least, no legitimate way. So he resorted to illegitimate means. That's crazy. He murdered Glenelg and made his next move, to frame Maggie Bird for the crime. Mr. Tigre posed as Glenelg, while Viola Cadaverini played the role of Miss Bird. And they reenacted the whole thing in order to establish a witness. The witness being the one we heard testify yesterday, Mr. Victor Kudo. Why is this coffee so gray? Like I said, Trite, that's crazy. No one could pull off a stunt like that. For starters, there's no way the chef would have been kept in the dark about it. Mr. Armstrong was in on it from the very beginning. Have you forgotten already? Mr. Armstrong owed the witness money too. $500,000, in fact. He had no choice but to go along with the plan. Order! Order! You just put on a good show, Spiky. You're one to talk, Spikinator. If you just want to stay alive in the loan shark business, you gotta be careful. Okay, let me save then. You saying I dressed up with that kid? Like that kid created a witness, framed someone? If I did something crazy like that, I'd leave a trail as bright as my shirt. I ain't dumb enough to do something sloppy like that. I agree. You do? Despite your appearance, you were very careful. That's why you took one more precaution. One more trick to make sure Miss Bird had no way out. Interesting. Why don't you fill us in, Trite? What was the trick you say he performed? Well, this is obvious. It's where the case began. What on earth is that? What an insult to think anybody could be fooled by such a childish imitation. Judge... Consider yourself insulted, Your Honor. Mr. Tigre, you didn't just pose as the victim on the day in question. A month ago, in this very court, you posed as me, which would be incredibly part of public record, so I could prove that like 30 ways. That's the truth. But the witness looked nothing like you, Mr. Wright. Looks nothing like you. Although, now that I think about it, it was you, wasn't it? No doubt it was you, standing in here this very court a mere month ago. The Phoenix tried to put the most disreputable, shabby defense I'd ever seen.
Objection!
So, we've found you guilty of, like, 30 things. Proved the attorney who represented the accused here months ago as a man. It's not the judge's job to get... Hang on. My brain broke for a second there. Okay, we're cool. You prepared to take the stand and testify it was him? Hey, forget about it, yeah? I wouldn't do something like that, not me. You made a mistake, right? It was someone else, right? Have you no pride, sir? Oh my god. This isn't a matter of pride. In case you didn't know, Trite, here in court we deal with people's lives. Man, speaking for myself, I am absolutely convinced. The attorney in question was the witness standing before me. However, I preside over this court as judge, with the vested power to hand down a verdict. Someone in my position cannot be swayed by a memory without evidence to support it. Do you not have court reporters? And video recorders? And the people in the court? And you can bring Pain in here? And oh my god, dude! I know that this is a joke, but this is a joke! The evidence said, don't advance, the court will not excuse the witness. Circumstances surrounding him are dubious for sure, but not conclusive. God. Well, that's okay. All this is doing is codifying the negative I already gave. So, shrug. I'm not even responding to that. I'm not reading that out loud. It's not worth my lips. Sucks to be you. This is the negative I've already given, basically. That's why I wanted to use the walkthrough. I was curious of something. It's not a new negative. No need to get defensive, guys. It's all good. We can all be calm here, and nobody can accuse me of being toxic again. Jesus Christ, I get sick of that so much. Looks like I won't be needing a refill. You're right, we should get rid of the 10 positives. Blah, 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 blah. Come on. Come on. Let's get to it. There it is. Now, that being said, speaking of negatives, which I'm codifying, I have to admit, I've been debating pushing him into positive territory. At the moment, he'd be an aggregate positive, because it's only this case that he's finally been an interesting character. But I've been liking him here. Ah, that's not true. He was good in 1.5 as well. I staked everything on this, my badge, the works. So here it is. My heart's counting on this, too. What is it, detective? It's the final decisive piece of evidence. Which one was 2-4? No, that would be a story negative, Alex Silva. This is a gameplay negative. Sorry it took so long. I got the results. Yep. Well. Do you think I'm some kind of hack detective? Of course I know. They're the tigers, right? I knew it. Clear as crystal, all over the bottle. They're Furio Tiger's paw prints. Got him now. What's wrong with you? You hardly said a word. He's laid everything on the line for this, Nick. I know, look, I'm sorry what this counter to say, but it really doesn't make any difference whose prints are on the bottle now. Why not? What we need to produce at this stage in the trial is irrefutable evidence that he put the poison in. He's already admitted he met the victim. The fact that his prints are on the bottle, that really doesn't make any difference. I knew it. Great. No matter how would I try, I'm never going to use. No. You are certainly of use, Gumshoe. Shut up. Whap. This is our last chance to help Maggie. And I've been working on some useless piece of evidence the whole time. It's alright. I'm a real loser. It's not breaking news to me, pal. Well, what's... what is it I said earlier? He's got a high bluff skill, something like that. Detective Gumshoe? You've been working on something for me? Sorry I let you down, Maggie. I know you didn't do it. And I'm a detective. We're supposed to be able to prove stuff like that. I'm really sorry. I'll get out of your hair now. No, wait, come back! Don't worry, we are going to get you two together if it's the last thing we do. Time to... bluff. Now, what I'm very curious about is if Wright has already figured out what I've already figured out. So, decisive evidence. Don't keep us all in suspense. Show us. We can assume it's evidence that will actually stand up in court, can't we? Don't let them just right. So he hasn't figured it out yet. He's still thinking. How much more of my time are you gonna waste? I ain't been to no court before, but used lawyers should know how to blow things out of proportion. No doubt, given the nature of the evidence, it will speak for itself. Nevertheless, you will talk us through it, Mr. Wright. Okay. Don't keep us waiting any longer, Mr. Wright. God, that's a third of my health bar.
Take that!
This is the defense's final piece of evidence. Your Honor, naturally, the court is already aware of the contents of this bottle. However, interesting new information has come to light. We have clearly identified some fingerprints on it. Fingerprints belonging to you, Mr. Tiger. But, Mr. Wright, what conclusion are you hoping to draw from this new information? Okay, he figured it out there. What the hell's in it, anyway? Phony trial, phony lawyer, phony clues. Everything about this case has been phony. Phonics. Phony evidence. Isn't this illegal? That's okay. We'll finally falsify evidence. Man, I've been wanting to do that this whole series. It contains Mr. Armstrong's oils. No, it contains the friggin' poison. This bottle contains potassium cyanide. Poison used to murder Mr. Elg, Your Honor. Victim's killer used this very bottle. Yeah, we are full on prosecuting this case. And on this bottle, Mr. Tiger, we found your fingerprints. Well, how do you explain that? You'd make a good clown, you know that. Yous ain't never gonna get this to stick. Yous just making me laugh now. You think a cheap bluff like this is gonna fool the tiger? I can see straight through you, Phoenix Wright. That ain't the bottle with the cyanide in it. Don't mess with the tiger, or you're gonna get ripped to shreds. The cyanide bottle was brown and made of glass. That cheap piece of trash. Don't look nothing like it. I like how the game just gives you a second to process that. What? He doesn't even get it. Why is everyone going quiet? I said that bottle. Is this the bottle you're referring to? Yeah, that's it. That's the bottle the cyanide was in. But yous ain't gonna find my prints on that bottle. Don't let that cozy-looking suit fool you people. That lawyer's just playing games. Tell him, Mr. Prosecutor. Tell that guy where to go. You still haven't figured it out? Don't you realize what you just said? What I said? What'd I just say? You were summoned to this court for the first time earlier today. If you really had nothing to do with the murder, you shouldn't have known all the details. For instance, you shouldn't have known what kind of bottle the potassium cyanide was in. But just now you said in front of every single person in this courtroom, you described the exact bottle used by the killer to hold the poison. You don't know who he's messing with. I'm the Tiger. I control millions of dollars on the black market. You think I'm gonna let some jumped-up suit get the better of me? Sure. Last piece of evidence was phony. But that's just what you deserve. The phony trial with a phony lawyer. All played by you, the biggest phony of all. That's not your best burn, right? I did like that Mia didn't come in to save the day on that one. Did he just shatter the lights? Oh god, he's gonna escape! Blink, blink, blink. What's going on? Looks like a blackout. Oh. Cyclops is still fine over there. Sorry, Godot is still fine over there. Well done, trite. Saved my 17th cup of coffee just for you. Savor it while you watch the police restrain your prey. Yeah, we're gonna have to qualify that one. Thanks, Godot. Mr. Wright, you caught a tiger by his toe, but if he hollers, he won't be let go. Now then, how are things with Mr. Taggart? He's being arrested on suspicion of the murder of Glen Elg. Fortunately for us, we managed to rectify a grave error. Miss Bird was found guilty in absence of genuine defense attorney. Yes, she was. And in the absence of genuine evidence, but the tiger made one mistake. He very nearly got away with everything if it wasn't for that one slip of a tongue. Rio Tigers are truly frightening, Chrono. Truly frightening one is that defense attorney over there. What do I do? Well, no, I'm in a position to deliver my verdict. Court finds the defendant not guilty. Confetti, confetti. That is all. Court is adjourned. Yeah, we're not at 100 yet. We might not get there. We've only got 2 cases left. And one of them is in the past. I don't think it was cheating narratively. It actually makes a lot of sense narratively. I'm at a loss for words. If anything, I kind of wish we'd been doing that kind of thing more, you know what I mean? Like before now. Bluffing has been our thing since the first game. Why is it we have just now bluffed like that? Like, that was probably the first thing I would call a straightforward bluff, rather than just making up stuff and stumbling along. I was so mad when Mr. Right landed me all that trouble a month ago. But now I feel like I can forgive him. I guess. Hey, that wasn't me, Maggie. That was the tiger. Look, Nick, in the doorway. It's her one true love. I guess I'll be heading off then. See you around. Wait! Detective Gumshoe. Maggie Bird. Detective Gumshoe. Maggie Bird. I knew all along you were a witness. Yeah, I knew you were innocent all along. In all honesty, even though he's wavered around, this is probably the first case I've actually liked Gumshoe as a character. I mentioned that earlier. In fact, I mentioned this to Max Time specifically. He can testify to this, that Gumshoe was mostly a neutral for me. Not that great, not that bad. With a few moments of cool. This is the first time I've actually liked him, is in this case. Why did you say that in your testimony? Oh, well, I guess I'll be seeing you. Bye! Wait up, detective. Oh, for God's sakes. Maggie, why are you being so hard on him? He busted his butt for you. It's thanks to him we got the medication bottle. That wasn't even a use. But it's only because Mr. Wright used it so cleverly. Detective Gumshoe was just running around in circles. He's so worthless and terrible, and that's why I can never get him out of my mind. Oh, for God's sakes. On that first day of the trial, he practically gave the judge a free pass to lock me up. He didn't have any choice. He's a detective. He has to report the facts. He doubted me. That's why. He thought I might have done it. Actually, that's exactly what this sounds like, Shikor. It's time to give her the incredible evidence. Here you are. Present to celebrate your freedom. It's a present from the Gumshoe made with a ton of love. Actual love, you idiot. Do you know how rare it is to see something like that? You moron! Now go be happy with him! Or else! I actually really like weenies, you know. No freaking kidding! Do you care to that? I'm pretty hungry myself. Yeah, the trial dragged on a bit today, didn't it? Yeah, tell me about it. Is it okay if I eat this now? Just don't use your hands. Yeah, exactly, Neurozest. Do you have any idea how hard it is to find a good person like Gumshoe? God. Go be happy. False allegations surrounding the case have been cured up, and who knows, maybe she'll find some happiness, yada yada yada. Do we not even find out? Oh, for God's sakes. Whatever. So let's try to get an hour into this one. It's time to meet our one true love, who's dressed kinda weird. The girl. Let her go. Come closer, and I kill her. I still don't know what to make of Godot, honestly. Sorry, but you're not gonna get the chance. No, sploosh. Kaboom! Sorry. Look, I'm all in favor of real romance, but why are we reading through the file of an old court case while we're injured, apparently? It was the first case of my longtime mentor, Mia Fey. Terry Falls, charged kidnapping and murder. Sentence, death penalty. And having terrible tattoos. After escaping, Falls met with and then murdered Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne. Recaptured on Eagle Mountain about 8 hours after his escape. Very first client was a death row inmate who had recently broken out of prison. It was a whole year before me and I ever met. Oh, I noticed the last name. I'm guessing this is why she knew Dahlia in the previous case, since this case happens before that. No, that didn't go over the top for me. Well, there was no circus case, that's for certain. I'm talking about bad filler. I'm so nervous, I feel like I'm going to die. I never should have accepted this case. Eek! Good morning. I didn't do nothing, I swear. I didn't kill nobody. Trifol is my first client. Sentenced to death 5 years ago. And now sentenced to death 5 years ago? How long is your waiting list? Why'd you try to escape anyway? Ooga! Don't bite. That's really bad for your... I didn't do nothing. I didn't kill nobody. I never lie. I didn't escape from nowhere. But Mr. Fellis, the police just recaptured you 2 days ago. Ugh. Sorry, I told a little lie. Anyway, I didn't do it. I never killed nobody. Like, I mean, maybe I'm the only person who thinks it would be really simple. Just line them up and get a machine gun. There we go. There's 20 people dead. Next, come on, let's go, let's go. There we go. Get another 20 dead. Right? Just get it nice and efficient, you know. They sentenced me to die 5 years ago, but I was tricked, I tell you. Wasted bullets. That woman, she lied in her testimony. That's why I got the death penalty. Look, I'm not the one who sentenced them to death, okay? They were sentenced to death! What do you want from me? Would you rather they stick around in torture for the rest of their lives, or would you rather they just die to the penalty they were sentenced to? I'm not sentencing them to death. I'm not the one who said you should die. Jesus Christ. Sure, yeah, guillotine. That works for me. What? Very quick. Very smooth. Gun. Gone. Painless. Because that is important. I do agree with that. Painless. Two days ago, he escaped from the police wagon when it crashed. Then about 8 hours later, a policewoman was murdered before the police could recapture him. The police believe that Terry Fallis did it. After you escaped, did you meet the policewoman? Yeah, I did. She's the reason I escaped. So, that much is true. She did meet the victim. Hire a professional assassin to kill them efficiently. I mean, that would be a very cynical answer. I didn't kill her. She was alive when I left. She was alive. It's true. Please stop biting that thing. You can trust him, right? Yeah, you should. Oh, hello, Godot. You're not going to figure out the truth by just staring at the guy. Why are you here? Honestly, Baronessa, I am astonished it's that much. Really. That seems way too high for me. I came to see how our little... Oh, no, seriously, it's frickin' Godot. Look at him. Same earrings, same jawline, same beard, same style of vest. Red instead of green, black instead of white. Come on. Oh, and also his hair is dark instead of white. I don't know why he turned into Negative Man. But yeah, no, that's totally Godot. Anyways, I came to see our little kitten was doing in a big scary lion's den. Thought maybe you'd like someone to play with. Where's Mr. Grossberg? Something about hemorrhoids. Bet he's clutching an empty bottle and mumbling in his sleep. Aren't I good enough? After all, it's me, Diego Armando. But you're dead. Oh, okay. So, are we actually moving into literally undead prosecutors? Is that the direction we're going with this? Hi, Ardeth. So, Diego Armando, the finest attorney at Grossberg Law. This is here for me. No, no, no. You got it all wrong. Today, you're the finest. After all, it took an amazing amount of guts to take this case. Imagine an escaped death row convict for a first client. He did come back from the depths of hell to do battle with us. He actually said that earlier. Relax, I just heard some good news. The prosecutor for today is fresh out of his diapers as well. However, unlike a certain somebody who I won't mention, he's earned his reputation as a genius since the beginning of his law career. Yeah, these two were dating, by the way. That was something that was mentioned earlier. Which means he must die. It's about time to head in, kid. Sharpen those claws. It's go time. And of course, this is going to be Edgeworth's first case. Or one of his first cases. When I saw those overflowing eyes and heard that simple childlike voice, I had the feeling he was telling the truth. I was going to say, this is Miles early on, so this is probably going to be a little unpleasant. Who the hell is this guy? Defense is ready, Your Honor. No kidding, mortal. Prosecution has been ready for a... Oh, God, look at him! Oh, my God, look at him! He literally looks like he found his dad's coat, and it doesn't quite fit him. So he's like, hang on, I'm a big man, too. Look, I have the same outfit my daddy has. And yes, I remember that from his wall in 1.5. Oh, I understand the lawyers for both sides are newcomers. Yes, Your Honor. Miles Edgeworth. Oh, you're the new prosecutor everyone's talking about, right? They see you joined the prosecutor's office at an early age. Yes, I'm a bit of a prodigy. Not as much as my sister, though. Oh my gosh. Okay, so... Come on, me, you can't lose. Not to someone younger than you. Young people running a trial. Not sure how I feel about that. Now then... Sorry, I can't do Canadian. That's a good question, Aria. So, the defendant in this case is currently a felon on death row. 2 days ago, he escaped from a police wagon. Is that correct? But the defendant is not on trial for escaping prison. On the day the defendant escaped, the policewoman was murdered. So we're here to determine Miss Follis was responsible for her death. You got it, kid. Well then, Mr. Edgeworth, let's hear your opening statement. Yes, Your Honor, it was 5 years ago. The defendant, Terry Follis, was sentenced to death in this very court. His crimes were kidnapping, extortion, and murder. The girl he threw off the bridge was only 14 years old. A truly horrible crime, I remember it well. There was no decisive evidence. So the trial was long and protracted. Correct. But in the end, what finally decided the case was a certain witness's testimony. That's the same pose Canfred Van Gonvid... Dracula uses. Yeah, that thing. The testimony of Detective Valerie Hawthorne, the person who confronted the criminal. Hawthorne, again! Manfred, that was his frickin' name. She arrested Mr. Follis at the scene and later testified against him. She said she witnessed Mr. Follis throw his young victim into the river. For those who are not aware, Eagle River is well known for its powerful current. Most bodies that fall in are never recovered. That policewoman you just mentioned, that wouldn't be... Yes, the victim is the same woman that was killed 2 days ago. Police Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne. I see. A man was sentenced to death based on her testimony 2 days ago. with only one thing on his mind, to take revenge on the woman who convicted him. That's pretty stupid, but he does look pretty dumb, so whatever. Ah, the truth is becoming clear now. Yes, yes. It's quite obvious the defendant is guilty. I'm sorry, I haven't even maybe I'll make a case. At least hear the case before you decide on the outcome, Your Honor. Watch yourself, Miss Fay. I'm not sure I care for your word choice or your tone of voice. Yeah, look at that. He even does the close the one eye thing. Young people these days simply don't know how to respect their elders. You're even younger than me, you hypocrite. Now then, Mr. Hutchworth, please call your first witness, eh? I call the detective who was in charge of the initial investigation of the case. Detective Gumshoe, in a certainly better-looking coat. Gumshoe, Dick Gumshoe, homicide detective in charge of the case, sir. I only got promoted to the detective division half a year ago. Well, he's 20, he's 27, so she's somewhere in between those two. He's 26 here. She was 23, he's 25. Hey, man, you got an idea how much work it takes? What is it? You're really gorgeous. Excuse me? No, seriously, my heart, it's aching for you. Detective, that's not your heart. I'll write you up in contempt so quick something other than your heart will ache. Okay, I got it. Besides, you need to stay, you know, unconnected, so about 6 years from now you can hook up with Maggie. Yes, sir. Right away, sir. Victim was Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne, veteran on the police force. She was stabbed in the back with a knife and died from excessive blood loss. I admittedly I don't know Baronessa. I thought she was just zipped up more. You know, less cleavage. That much is already stated in the autopsy report. The court would like to hear more details about the incident itself. Yes, sir. I gotcha. Look at the aerial map. There's a sketch of the Dusky Bridge, an old suspension bridge. The river that runs under it is the Eagle River. The victim and the defendant met there, on top of the bridge. After stabbing her in the back, the killer carried the victim back to his car. He was recaptured at a police checkpoint as he was trying to make his getaway. Okay, everything's wrong with that. The victim blood's found on the bridge. The victim, Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne, was wearing a thick coat. Fortunately, no traces of blood were found on the bridge. Mr. Edgeworth, I warn you, I despise conjecture. Yeah, honestly, I think I agree with Ardeth. I think she looks better here with her dress zipped up a bit more. There's no blood on the bridge. You have no proof that you even met there. Your Honor, let me do the shake head thing. If you would listen to the testimony we've prepared, I'm sure you'll be convinced. The two of them most certainly did meet on the bridge that day. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm not sure I like you wagging your finger at me as though I was some kind of hoser. Detective, proceed with your testimony. Okay, now, listen carefully, kid. A little mistake, and this guy will drink you for morning tea. Trust me and get ready. He's already into coffee. The day of the incident, an unknown person phoned the sergeant and asked to meet. Sergeant Hawthorne went to Dusky Bridge at the designated time and met with Mr. Fallis. That's where she was brutally murdered, sir. The criminal stuffed her body in its car trunk and tried to make a getaway. Mr. Fallis was arrested at a police checkpoint we'd set up at the base of the mountain. Well, you certainly have established the importance of the bridge. Naturally. Edgeworth, don't make me dislike you. It took me 2 games to really start to love you. I mean, not like that kind of love. I certainly don't... Look at his beautiful silvery hair and his gorgeous... Sorry. Settle down. If you keep trembling like that, you're going to make me spill my coffee. I'm not trembling. It's just cold in here. Courtroom can be a cold battlefield, all right? Especially for a beginner. I need to worry about... Don't even have to worry about me. I mean, the defendant, the witness, everyone's a beginner in here. You got me there. Maybe you should keep your claws out. Show them what you got, kid. Okay, maybe she needs to zip up a little more. One of those court procedure videos you stayed up last night watching. Okay. Now that we're here. It's an unknown person. You have no idea who it might be, right? Like I said, that's the theory I have so far, Baroness. Although, since he was Mia's former lover, I mean, that throws a whole lot of things into light with regards to why he's against Phoenix. So I'm afraid I do. The one who called the Sergeant Hawthorne was the defendant, Terry Fallis. The defendant called her? Sergeant Hawthorne was a very thorough person, sir. She left a note about her phone call with Mr. Fallis. A note? Yeah, a top-secret memo that she left in her desk. Victim's note added. According to this note, it seems the one who called the bridge was indeed the defendant. His bright idea was to keep that note from me. Heh, looks like the judge is even more sure of his verdict now. Listen up, never ask a question if you don't already know the answer. Detective Smith, he's the one who said it in person. Hey, now, don't make that face at me. I just said it that way because the prosecutor told me to. With that cute face, I didn't expect him to be so sneaky. Even Mia likes Edgeworth. Come on, guys. So, Sergeant Hawthorne went to the Dusky Bridge. Bridge up in the mountains? Why meet there? Because it's a very important place to the defendant, that's why. What do you mean by that? If you remember 5 years ago, the incident, yada 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 yada. Very place where Sergeant Hawthorne was arrested and handcuffed. Return to the scene of the crime. How nostalgic. That's where she was brutally murdered, sir. Hey, Harvesty. What's up? Was the body of the victim discovered right away? Yeah, we were really on the ball. Found the criminal within 1 hour of the murder. It was great. We even got to say, "Don't move, we got you surrounded." Wait a second, isn't there anything weird about that? The location was a suspension bridge from the mountains. How they found out about the crime so quickly? Sergeant Hawthorne must have mentioned the phone call to someone else, right? Eh, that's what happened. She wouldn't have been killed. She never meant the phone call, but she left a note on her desk about it. Only I'd noticed it earlier. Criminal stuffed her body in the trunk and tried to make a getaway. Follows as a car, then? Well, that bridge is way up in the mountains, ma'am. Defendant and the victim both went up there by car. I mean, how else, right? You mean the defendant drove his own car? No, of course not. It was stolen. He stole it from a young couple who had been waiting at a red light. Lol, Baronessa. Car thieves. Not sure how I feel about car thieves. Is this guy sure about how he feels on anything? This is a photo of the oh my gosh. She's... That is a little too comfortable. Victim was stabbed in the back, correct? Yep. For some reason, men always seem to get stabbed in the back. Talking to a woman here. You can tell from this photo, but the knife was stuck in her back, nice and firm. Condition of the body when it was discovered is very important information. Detective, was there anything strange or noteworthy in the trunk of the car? Here's a photo of the trunk. I don't see anything strange, do you? Anyway. Wears white scarf for identification. Talk to Dahlia. Tell her this time whole truth must come out. Wow. That is so messed up. I mean, we already kind of mentioned that Dahlia is just a really horrible person, but damn! What is it? Do you have something to say? Sorry, I totally forgot what I was going to say. This is the first time I've had to actually address someone like that. You should have practiced before coming to court. Honestly, Miss Faya, I'm not sure I like this. Say there, you want a piece of my coffee candy? Oh, you're still too young to be drinking real coffee. How old is she? It doesn't say. Older than 20. Sure. Okay, so Dahlia frames Fallis years ago. Fallis gets the death penalty sentence and sits on death row for 5 years. Then he breaks out and... Actually, no, I'm going to take that back. I think he was helped in escaping by the victim, the Hawthorne... God, what's her name? I've already forgot her name. Valerie Hawthorne. She helps him escape so she can go confront Dahlia about the truth, about the fact that Dahlia was like, you did it. Then they get there, Dahlia kills her, because Dahlia is horrifically evil, and then blames Follis again. Now, you're probably thinking, well, hang on, how does she pin this on him? Twice. I'll give you a hint to my theory. It involves blinking and crocodile tears and little butterflies. Oh, please, won't you do this for me, Terry? That's my theory. Yes, ma'am. This photo, you said there was nothing peculiar about it, is that correct? Yeah, that's what I said. Well, then I suggest you take another look at the note written by the victim. The note? It very clearly says, wear white scarf for identification. The caller must have forgotten what the victim looked like, thus special request. Of course not, Goofy Movie. I would never suspect Dahlia of anything like that. I trust her implicitly. I have one very simple question for you. Where's the white scarf? Can't seem to find any in the photo. Well, to be honest, we didn't find it in the trunk, ma'am. Oh, of course you didn't. And you stopped there? You should have looked for it. Oh, thanks for the coffee. The caller told her to wear it to identify herself, so I'd expect she did just that. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do you have to say about this? I'm currently evil, but I'll be good later. The scarf you're searching for desperately, is it this one, perchance? Where'd you find that, sir? On Dusky Bridge. I was there first, and I decided to conduct my own investigation. Incredibly illegally. I made a decision to keep all pieces of evidence in my personal satchel. It's the safest place. I know. Oh my god. I know. The Von Karmas get away with flagrant trial manipulation. It's not exactly white, as the caller requested, but as you can see, it's close enough for what was intended. He even acknowledges that it's not white. Not surprising. It was drizzling on the mountain that day. Prosecutor Edgeworth, he was intentionally hiding the scarf the whole time. Court will accept the scarf into evidence. Yeah, I know, right? Floating triangles. There's a reason Edgeworth pissed me off originally. Which is why I'm kind of like, oh god, no. Please. You were awesome. You became awesome. It's not a phase, Dad. Now, if the attorney for the defense is finished embarrassing herself, I'd like to move on to testimony. That is all right with you, isn't it, Miss Fay? Incredibly evil. Very good. Now that we've done with this mud-covered scarf business, the prosecution moves on to establish conclusively with hard evidence Miss Hawthorne and Miss Follis did indeed meet on that bridge that day. Further, we'll show exactly what happened there. Sounds quite promising. I can't wait to hear all about it. Don't forget, kitten, there's a reason why everyone considers this kid a genius. It's because he has basic logic deduction. I'm sorry, have you seen The Awkward Zombie about that? It's like, it shows, I have the ability to see little tells for, I think, Apollo. And then it shows What's-Her-Face saying, I have an emotional grid that can detect things. And Phoenix is like, I got the Magatama that can detect things. And then it cuts to Edgeworth and he says, oh, I forget the whole thing. It's like, I gotta pull it up. Hang on. There it is. So, the gun was found at the crime scene. Furthermore, the victim died of a gunshot wound to the chest. From this evidence, it can be concluded the victim was shot with a gun. Superpower number 3. Basic logic. Here, I'll link you guys. I'll link you in chat. I was wrong. Apparently they didn't mention the emotional grid one. I was mistaken. That was something else. That would have been this other one, which actually did show up, funnily enough. Anyways. Is it really mortal? I shall use logic to deduce that this is a carrot. Oh, no. Anyways, sorry. Moving on. Actually, there's an eyewitness who was there when the incident took place. This photo was accidentally taken by the witness. It shows Vic wearing the scarf, sir. It was drizzling that day. Unfortunately, it's a little hard to see what's going on. Anyway, the criminal shoved the victim down from behind and stabbed her in the back. That must have been when the scarf fell off. Oh god, there's so much wrong with that. Look at this photo. You really get the sense the bridge is very high up. It's about a 40-foot drop from the bridge to the Eagle River. Mr. Edgeworth, who took this photo? Let's just say it was a well-intentioned third party. A potential witness. Why isn't this person in the courtroom? They said they absolutely did not want to testify. The person in question is very delicate, Your Honor. That's Dahlia. Besides, as long as we have the photo, we have no reason to compel them to testify. I'm not sure how I feel about that. As you can see, Terry Follis had both the motive and the opportunity. I think it's quite clear what happened on the bridge. Aha! Truth is becoming clear to me now. Yes, it's quite clear. He's clearly guilty. Not again. I haven't even done cross-examination yet. What do you mean, Oh my god. So, I'm just gonna point out... Whoop! Hang on. Who is the eyewitness? She's a college student who's named Dahlia, who's incredibly evil. That's right. Meaning she's female and a college student, ma'am. She doesn't do well in front of other people, so I came to testify for her. Maybe so, but as the attorney for the defense, I have the right to cross-examine her.
Objection!
For the time being, we're not relying on the witness's statements, that is all. What's that supposed to mean? The prosecution has other more decisive evidence. Our case doesn't rest on vague testimony of a female college student. I was actually about to say, what do you mean the students? Female college student, no. Yeah, the judges are all... udgy. I mean, she's female. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Moving on. Photo was accidentally taken by the witness. It shows Vic wearing this... You know, I like that artwork, except Larry's in it. The victim is wearing a scarf in this photo, alright. So about the witness who took the photo. What was this person doing all the way up the mountains? She was taking photos of wild flowers, apparently. There are many unusual types of flora on the mountain, Miss Fay. People in the area say it's because of the spirits that live there. Spirits? Now that you mention it, this photo. This cloudy fog-like thing, is that a ghost? No, Your Honor, I don't think it's a ghost. It was drizzling that day. Unfortunately, it's a little hard to see what's going on. Drizzling, huh? That's right. There was a light rain coming down. The whole place was dreary. But not as dreary as the mood that's in the courtroom right now. Okay, it looks like a cold front just moved in. In any case, point is, the area is quite damp. There's even some fog. I even slipped and fell when I was on the bridge. It was really something. I nearly died. Anyways, the criminal shoved the victim down from behind and stabbed her in the back. Is that part of the witness's testimony as well? Of course it is. He pushed the victim hard in the back, and she fell down on her stomach. Emphasis. I remember that happened myself. It was really brutal. Are you talking about seeing someone get pushed, or were you the one getting pushed? What does it mean you pushed someone down like that once? With his mind-boggling tales, and the way he said brutal. I wonder if he's Canadian. Nah. Save your nasty look for the right person. Take a look. Poor baby. The court record seems to have wet itself. Hey, watch where you spill your coffee. Must have been when the scarf fell off. So in other words, there was a struggle between the criminal and the victim, huh? That's what the witness said. Well, looks like she didn't remember about the scarf, but from what she said, it sounded a pretty violent fight, ma'am. Talk about surprise. I know there's a photo. You believe a crybaby? Kitten believes in fairy tales. In that case, the case is obvious. If there's truth in it, means somewhere is the... Go find the contradiction. Okay. So, obviousness. Right? Is that the one? Yep, nope. Shoved in the back. Witness, what do you think of this witness's statement? I don't think anything about it. How about you? I guess I don't think of it either. Huh. So, about that guide. Let's see. Okay. So at the time of the crime scene, there was a light drizzle coming down, correct? Yeah, and fog, too. Just a general soggy atmosphere. Well, I have evidence that doesn't go with the soggy atmosphere. Considering the condition of the scene of the crime, something isn't right. No, Mia doesn't have a perfect record. At least not when she's going up against Edgeworth. It's right here. The victim's coat? There's nothing strange about it. That's exactly what's strange. Recall the testimony. What are the conditions of the bridge? It was drizzling and foggy. The dusky bridge was wet. The victim really had fallen down on her stomach. Some of the coat should have been covered in mud. Sure. I would never have guessed that. I'll admit it. I do admit the crime scene was quite wet that day. However, that doesn't mean the top of the bridge itself was muddy. If Your Honor had fallen in the shower instead of a muddy street, your glorious hockey beard, pride of the legal league, would be wet, but not muddy. Unfortunately, I have yet to test that. Still, your point is well taken. You prove that the surface... Well, I am a moron, Max Time, as we all know. You prove it was muddy. Yeah, sure. Like, we've already proven it's muddy. You have already proven it's muddy, Edgeworth. There you go. It does, Lord Harriman. The evidence is this scarf. That's true, I am a Loron. Should be obvious if the scarf fell into the bridge and got this muddy. Means the bridge was obviously covered in mud. It can't be outbidden by this novice bimbo. Hey, same to you, buddy. God, look how stark Armando looks when he's wearing red instead of green. This phase assertion makes perfect sense to me. I do admit there appears to be a contradiction between the condition of the victim's coat and her scarf. However, the real question is, why is there a contradiction? For every contradiction, there exists an explanation. Let's look at what the explanation is in this case, shall we? You're doing pretty well for a little kitten. Look at that red, God! It reminds me of my DS9 shirt, actually. No matter what he says, a contradiction always comes down to a lie. It's either the victim discovered in the trunk, the witness's photo, or the witness's testimony that stated she saw the moment of the murder. I agree, it looks good on him next time. Just relax and think it over. Pretty simple, yeah? The false evidence is one of those three. What you said just now, I'm not sure I like that. It wasn't me, Your Honor. It was the coffee aficionado over there. Court is not a habit of accepting false evidence, you know. What about him, Your Honor? He's the one who tried to slip false evidence into court. But we won't let him. We'll expose his evidence as the flimsy scam it really is. False evidence in this case is the witness's testimony. It's the one that most contradicts. I mean, I already pointed out the whole backstab thing, but let's not get into that. During his early testimony, the detective pointed out a crucial fact. The criminal shoved the victim down from behind. Hey, I mentioned that. Now, is that testimony exactly what the witness claims to have seen? Yeah, that's what the witness told us. Here. That testimony is filled with holes. After all, the victim's coat isn't dirty at all. It's true. It's not just true, it's the truth. There was a truly decisive witness in this case. I'm certain that Boy Wonder over there would have called him in the first place. Your Honor, the defense requests to cross-examine the eyewitness. Testimony presented so far is not only vague, but contradictory. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, it appears we'll need to hear from your mystery witness after all. You should brace yourself for the brutal truth. That she is a horribly... I mean, the prosecution has no intention of hiding the witness from the court. We're prepared to present our witness at any time. Very well. What does he mean by the brutal truth? Now, let's proceed with the testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, please go right ahead. Thank you, Your Honor. Prosecution summons the woman who saw the events on the day with her own eyes. Evil McEvilson, am I right? Oh yeah, it's her. I'm so innocent and pure. Everyone's silent. I can hear the hearts going pitter-patter. Oh my. Oh my. When I look at you, you look as scrumptious as a double-double and a dozen donut holes. I feel like I want to hurry up and hand down a verdict just to have a bite. I'm getting closer and closer to my theory that she is actually a demon or like an evil spirit or something, because Jesus. I mean, she's already got the classic succubus thing going on. As I said before, this witness is very sensitive and delicate. I would ask the court to please exercise care when addressing her. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. You're a true gentleman. Miss Fay, you could learn a lot from this man. Sir? Yes, my dear. This is my first time, so I'm sure I'll make a lot of mistakes. Anyway, I've never killed anyone before, or this time, or in the future. Of course Edgeworth is immune. He only has eyes for right. Who he hasn't met yet. May I please have your name and occupation? My name is Melissa Foster? What? I'm a college student, a freshman in the literature department. You're right, Shikor. Sorry. You're right. I actually forgot about that. They were childhood friends. You were on the scene when the unfortunate event occurred, yes? You were the one who took the photo, is that accurate? Ah, how can you be so mean? What are you doing, shoving that in her face like that? But it's just a photograph. It's not like it's something dangerous. Next time I'll be forced to penalize you. What? She's staring at me? And you would be? I'm the defense attorney, Miss Mia Fey. I see. So you are... Now, young lady, please give us your testimony. Yeah, even her theme song sounds Uncanny Valley. I was using my camera, oh my god, Baronessa, to take some pictures of wildflowers. Then I noticed there were two people standing on the suspension bridge. Suddenly they just started fighting. That's when I heard it and took my photo that shows the crucial moment. And right after that I called the police. By the way, where were you standing when the incident occurred? I believe the map will be of help here. I was standing over here with a terrible view of everything. She took the photo from that location, huh? I brought the camera I was using at the time. Just like Mr. Edgeworth asked me to. Ho, ho, ho. What a cute camera, just like its owner. And there goes his head. Oh my god, no, Platty, do not voice the evil demon of Succubus Death Doom. First of all, I don't think you are physically capable of sounding this insidiously evil. Make the witness cry again, you'll feel the wrath of the gavel. Oh, for God's sakes, really? Having heard Platty's voice acting, no, I don't think she could. That probably sounds like an insult, but it's not. Using picture to take one, knows two people, so they just started finding out. So I heard he took the photo that shows the crucial moment. What? No, you didn't. No, wrong one. There you go. Yeah, there's the crucial moment. Them standing like 6 feet from each other and staring at each other. See, the catch is, Lord Harrimont, in order to do a character like that, you have to have range. You have to be able to sound innocent, scathing, and insidious. Which is basically A, B, and a mixture of both. And I don't think Platty can sound insidious. I don't think she has it in her to sound that evil. And he said you took a photo of the crucial moment. Is this what you meant? Nope, no pressing. He said he was going to penalize me. No pressing. All I can see is this photo are two people facing each other. You testified that you saw the two of them starting to fight. Yeah, Platty is not evil. Sorry, guys. Normally that's the kind of thing we would refer to as a crucial moment. How would you present a photo like that? Well, you see... I don't know, Django, but anytime they say we'll penalize you, I usually go ahead and skip, you know, the press everything approach. I've been doing that consistently. The photo we presented was the only one there was. But if you really wanted to capture the crucial moment, then what happened next? You must have taken a photo of it. Oh my god. It is him! Apologies, young lady, but Miss Faye's assertion is not without a certain amount of merit. He can certainly downplay a situation, can't he? I'm sorry, I'm a very bad girl. God, I hate you so much. Alright. I used it all up. The film, I mean. You ran out of film? This photo was the last one. By the way, I actually did notice a contradiction earlier, but I don't know if it's valid, because every time I bring out a logical contradiction, the game thinks I'm wrong. So we're going to try it next and see what happens. I personally examined all the photographs she took that day. All the other photos are of the witness herself playing among the wildflowers. The witness herself? Who took the photos? Well, you see, it has a built-in timer. Yeah, that's an old feature. You took photos of yourself? I remember taking photos of myself too once. Yuck! Seems Miss Faye's assertion was not so decisive after all. Well, if she had no film left, she couldn't take any more pictures. Eh? Miss Foster, please tell them about a different sort of photo. Photos of the incident you took with your very own eyes. Miss Edgeworth, you're quite the poet. Sniffle, sniffle. Very well, then let's get back to the cross-examination. So your thoughts on the fight that you witnessed? For the record, I have known someone like this in real life. Not as bad, obviously, but someone in this same general type of category. You know, very attractive, presents herself as sweet as innocent, and lies constantly. I actually still remember the first time I caught her in an extremely provable lie, and the feeling was just kind of like, wait, what? And then shortly thereafter, the feeling was, but why would she lie about that? And that's when I started, you know, asking her friends about things and finding out that she lied about freaking everything. Yeah. What's actually, the only amusing thing, and you didn't hear this from me, is she actually accused me of being unpleasant towards her. Let's put it that way, to put it as nicely as possible. And when she did, absolutely no one believed her. Because all her friends knew she was a constant liar. God. I was using my camera to take a picture of the wild. Yeah, it was a boy cried wolf situation. It was exactly that. I noticed there were two people standing up on the suspension bridge. Suddenly they just started fighting. Actually, unpleasant's the wrong word. Let's go with untowards. That's better. Basically, I was actually dating her friend at that time, and she insisted that I made advances on her. To everyone, including her friend, the woman I was actually dating, and had been for quite some time at that point. Yeah. Like I said, nobody believed her on that one. I actually found out about that accusation from my girlfriend. God. Yeah, there's a reason I'm bringing this incident up. It's kind of reminding me of this. What am I doing? Victim tried to turn around and run away, but yeah, honestly, I'm just glad nothing actually came of it. I mean, she and I stopped being friends, and I never talked to her again. And I was with my girlfriend of the time for another 2 years after that. Make of that what you will. Witness, your testimony is a joke. Huh? What? But I just... Miss Faye, I thought I warned you not to make the witness cry. One short testimony and 2 bad contradictions. There's no possible excuse. You say there were 2 contradictions? It's simple. Take a look at the diagram of the area. I'm sorry, Cord. I am. I'm sorry anybody has to deal with people like that. I really did luck out, because that was just a cut and dry thing for me. God, I don't know what I would have done if she had stayed in my life for a while. Especially when I didn't want her in my life. According to her testimony, the 2 of them were in the middle of the bridge. But if they were, and the victim had turned around and tried to run, well then, she would have hit a dead end. You said 10 yards, but she couldn't have ran 5. This dusky bridge has collapsed on that side. What does all this mean? It's very simple, Your Honor. This charming little witness told a charming little lie. That's all there is to it. This beautiful young lady has been lying to the court? How can a beautiful young woman lie? Just a moment, Your Honor. Your Honor, allow me to personally apologize for the confusion. There's one major mistake in this diagram. It's all because this diagram was made after the incident occurred. It's a very old bridge. We couldn't find any official blueprints of it. I'm saying that even though this bridge is currently in disrepair, there's no evidence that can prove the bridge was broken during the incident. Okay, that's weak sauce for you, Edgeworth. That is a technically right there. You can't tell the condition of the bridge from the photo. I apologize to the court for not being more clear when I presented the evidence. That guy's good. What do you mean? He planned it from the beginning. He's a genius, alright. That diagram of the bridge was his insurance policy. I know. It's young edgy. Young worthy, excuse me. Well, Miss Faye, you've once again made a reckless accusation. I'm so sorry. I should have been more careful myself. No. It wasn't your fault at all. Now then, shall we go on with the trial? I'd like to establish once and for all what it was the witness actually saw. All right, young lady, may I ask you to please continue your testimony? It's so hard to go on. Butterflies. We're all on your side, Miss Foster. There's no need to worry. I am 90% certain this is before that case, von Falkenstein. That chronologically, this is the first case in the series, to date. Of the 3. After he stabbed her in the back, he quickly picked her up in his arms. Then he carried her over to the car. I suppose that was the only way he could make sure the body stayed hidden. He couldn't just leave the body on top of the bridge. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm only supposed to talk about what I saw. Oh, for God's sakes. Witnessing such a violent act must have been difficult. Yes, sir. I'm still shaken up. If he accepts the testimony as is, we're finished. Don't say that. Oh, well. We'll stop off at my favorite cafe on the way home. They make a really great mocha latte. The trial isn't over yet. That's what I like to hear. You notice he's pushing her just like he pushed us in the last couple of trials. For Django's sake, we're going to test something. Are you saying the victim didn't fall down on the bridge? Actually, maybe she did fall? Of course she didn't fall down on the bridge. If she'd fallen down, the photo wouldn't make any sense. If that was the case, her coat would have been muddy. If you don't mind, I was asking the witness. No need to be so rude. Well, young lady. Of course she didn't fall down. The man in the prison uniform grabbed her before she could. Alright, sorry, this isn't Dahlia. My bad, this is Melissa Foster. And she's such an innocent, pure woman. So we're not getting penalized here. She carried her over to the car. He carried her over to the car. You personally witnessed that? Yes. Did anything strange happen when he did that? Well, I don't know if you'd call it strange or not. But that's when the victim's scarf fell off. You mean this scarf? Words match what we found the scene. I don't see any problem. I suppose that's the only way it could make sure the body would stay hidden. You mean the defendant carried the body all by himself? Yes. Considering the size of the defendant, I don't think that would be difficult. Yes, but remember, we're on a narrow bridge that was ready to collapse. Is it even possible for him to carry a dead body on a bridge like that? Well, the fact that the matter is he did. That kind of talk is just silly. Wow, why did he get so emotional all of a sudden? Miss Faye, if think there's another possibility, please share it with us. He couldn't just leave the body on top of the bridge. Why do you say that? It's already a broken down bridge hidden in the mountains. Doing anything more to hide the corpse wouldn't be going overboard, would it? Yes, but that mountain is famous amongst hikers. A surprising number of people go up there. But it's February, and raining. There's also a small temple and a channeling dojo. You know those monks, they love cold, isolated places. I think the witness is trying to say the corpse of body could have been found at any time. Besides, the witness is merely reporting what she witnessed with her own eyes. I'm sorry. And you're absolutely certain it was my client you saw carrying the body? Well, he was wearing a prisoner's uniform, but as for his face... You didn't get a clear look at his face. Well, they were far away and it was raining. I thought I was only supposed to say exactly what I saw. You're a remarkably honest young woman. Okay, I feel better. I was just picturing him being vaporized into ash. We're good, we're good. You ever put salt in your coffee? No, why would I? Why not? It may actually go better than with coffee than sugar, right? Listen, my point is if you're not sure, you might as well add a ton of salt to it. It might bring out the rust in something, like a piece of evidence. So, okay, moving on. I was just saying, let me just raise my left hand here. God. Yeah, why is someone playing a Sith theme in the background? A killer not wanting his victim to be found. I can understand that. However, the idea of moving the body for that purpose is clearly odd. There was a much easier way to make sure the body wasn't found. Well, what is it? Take another look at the map of the area and you'll see how. There's a river right below the bridge. Earlier, Miss Edgeworth pointed out something interesting about the river. For those not aware, it's a thing. So, in the kidnapping case, the victim's body was carried away and never found. If 10 murders were to occur at the same spot above the Eagle River, you can bet your boots every other killer would have tossed the body in the water. Order, order! I'm not sure if I care for the way you put that, but I must admit it does seem odd not to have thrown her body into the river. Well, Miss Edgeworth, Mr. Edgeworth, how sad. Perhaps Miss Faye would do well to take a dip in the river herself. After all, you claim to be such an expert in the ways of nature. What are you talking about? My point is, no matter how odd you may find the killer's method of body disposal, the fact is this is what the killer did. None of your arguments have nothing to do with what the witness saw. Quite true. Miss Faye, it seems your assertion is without merit. Oh, crap! But what the witness claims to see is totally ridiculous. Surely you can't deny the body was found in the trunk of the car. It's certainly consistent with what the witness has told us. Please, witness, go on with your testimony. I'll try. All you have to do is tell us what you saw, otherwise the mean lady might yell at you again. All right, I'll do my best. Andros won't have his way with me. Well, Miss Foster, it looks like you've done it this time. Did what? Made a crucial mistake. I'm starting to think you're right. I think this might be a true supposed-to-lose battle. Like this whole case. I mean, ignoring the fact that we know we lose this battle because Edgeworth has a perfect victory. But it's interesting to see the way they're doing this. The killer broke into the trunk of the car and hid the body in there. You're saying you saw that, right? With your own eyes? Yes, and... Simple, Miss Foster. Take a look at the diagram. place you claim to have taken the photo from is here. Do you know what I mean? Even if you've tried to see the car, this outcropping of rock is directly in the way. From where you're standing, you cannot have possibly seen the killer's car.
Objection!
Ah, I forgot about that next time, but you're right. I admit the diagram shows a large outcropping of rock. However, it isn't so tall it would stop her from seeing the car. That's right, it's not high at all. I was able to see his car just fine. I'm so sorry, but that just doesn't wash. I believe the witness who presented this as evidence to the court is the location the photo is taken from. Your own photo tells the whole story. You can clearly see the left side of the bridge, but the outcropping is really more like a cliff. Your view should have been completely cut off by this cliff. But still you claim to have been able to see the killer's car. Order. What is the meaning of this ballyhoo? Your Honor, don't jump to any hasty conclusions. The fact that the escapee was in a stolen car was reported on the news. After witnessing a murder, I'm sure you can appreciate the witness was very upset. She must have heard about the stolen car and convinced herself she saw it. But she was repeatedly warned before starting her testimony. She was told to testify only about what she saw with her own eyes. Mr. Judge, what is it? I think I must have remembered things wrong, and I'm so innocent and pure. Hey, wait a minute. You can't just say that. God dang it, Miss Faye. No one on the face of the planet is perfect. Except for the Von Karmas! Quite true. You know what they say. To err is human, to forgive divine. We're in a court of law, sir. I'm inclined to give the benefit of the doubt to the war witness here. It's not fair. Literally. Save the tears for later. Don't look back until the trial is over. Now's the time to go forward. That wasn't fair. Okay, kid. You need to relax. And then you need to remember the other kitten's testimony. Killer broke into the car. Took the body there. So tell me, how'd she know that? How'd she know she broke into the trunk? We have a lot of very suspicious people on this side of the courtroom. Well, witness, well, I'm certain he broke into the trunk. Because there were marks left on the trunk lid. I'm certain there were scratch marks from when he broke into it. Let me see that photo. There were. It's true. These look like scratch marks around the keyhole. It's obvious this trunk has been broken open. Well, Miss Faye, are you satisfied? No. I am really not satisfied. Melissa Foster. Yeah, no kidding, next time. Looks like you finally betrayed yourself. You said you were in a field taking photos of wild flowers, but even so, you knew about the scratches. The question is when? When did you get a chance to see those scratches? I finally got her. Yeah, no, we got like another hour or two. Perhaps it would be best if Mr. Perhaps it would be faster if Miss Faye explained herself. Your Honor, there's only one possible explanation. The reason is, she put the corpse in herself. There's only one way the witness had the chance to see those scratches. Naturally, when she opened the trunk, she stuffed the corpse in herself. The person who really hid the body in the trunk of that car was... Melissa Foster. That's ridiculous. I would never. I could never. It was the man in the prison car. He's the one that... I don't think so, Miss Foster. If Mr. Follis had been the one to put the corpse in the trunk, he would have simply used the car key. There's no need for him to break it open. But he stole the car. He stole it from a young couple that had been waiting at a red light, which means the key was in the ignition. I mean, he was driving the car. I see. God. Thank you for telling us about the scratches, Miss Foster. Without that, we never would have uncovered the truth. That it couldn't have been Mr. Follis that put the body in the trunk.
Objection!
Preposterous to even suggest the witness put the body in there. If that were true, how do you explain the photo she took? The corpse could only have been put in the trunk when the incident occurred. We already know that at the time she was taking photographs. Chance me. finish this thing. On the contrary, I'm not so certain about that anymore, Mr. Edgeworth. There's no need to think too deeply about it. What I'm saying is the shutter for this might not have been pushed by Miss Foster herself. Yeah, it does. She already said it has a timer function. It even says in the thing it has a timer function. Let's take another look at the camera and see what features it has, shall we? It has a timer built in. Even has a mini tripod. Why, it's almost as if she brought the camera just to take this picture.
Objection!
What are you trying to say then, Miss Fay? That when the crime occurred, she wasn't in the field as she claimed? Well, if she did use the auto timer, then the answer is yeah. Exactly, she was not in the field. Will the defense please explain further? Listen, this is a crucial point. Where was she when the incident occurred? In answering that question, it'll also make her clear her true identity. Where was she on the map? I mean, this is actually pretty obvious to me. She was right here. Naturally, the witness was right here. But that's where the victim was standing. Order. Miss Fay, what on earth? Your Honor, if I may. After parting with the victim on the bridge, the defendant fled by car. But this would mean there was also no time to put the victim in the trunk. In other words, if someone put the body in the trunk, it can only have been before the defendant met the victim. Oh, asinine. Of course Mr. Follis met with the victim. The only person with the opportunity to put the victim in the trunk was the same man that killed her. You still don't understand, do you, Mr. Edgeworth? By the time the witness's photo was taken, the victim was already dead. The person in the photo was not Valerie Hawthorne. What? I've never heard anything more ridiculous in my entire life. Wait until you meet Wright, buddy. Who exactly is the victim in the photo? It's obvious, isn't it? It's your own witness. What? It's the only possible explanation. The woman that Mr. Follis met on the bridge was not Valerie Hawthorne. It was you, Melissa Foster. Let's remember that it was raining and foggy on the mountain that day. Mr. Follis himself believed the woman in front of him was Valerie Hawthorne. But the defendant knew Valerie Hawthorne very well. After all, she was the woman whose testimony helped get him convicted. But since then, my client has spent 5 years in a federal penitentiary, wasting taxpayer dollars. He couldn't remember exactly what she looked like anymore. You're just making this up as you go along. Where's your proof? I got it right here. The scarf. Miss Follis had forgotten the victim's face. That's why he needed identification. She mentioned that in the email. Or whatever. It was Mr. Follis who requested she wear this scarf to identify herself. That's already been proven by the note the victim left. In other words, as long as you were wearing a scarf like he asked, anyone could have pretended to be Valerie Hawthorne. Well, what do you have to say to that, Melissa Foster? No. Clunk. Where's Miss Foster? She's collecting herself in the lobby. It's obvious Miss Foster did it. She hid the body in the trunk and disguised herself as the victim. She set up the camera to snap a fake photo of them together. The only question is why? Well, isn't that obvious? She's the real culprit. Yeah, that doesn't answer the why. We'll have to wait for Miss Foster to compose herself before we start again. Till then, this court is in recess. Defense and the prosecution are both to wait in their respective lobbies. Yes, Your Honor. Understood. Very well. Court is in recess. To be continued tomorrow. Exactly, game. Couldn't have put it better myself. Ah. I timed that pretty well. I'll need to pay that bill in a minute. Did I save? Let's make sure I saved. I'm going to adjust my... Where's my freaking ratings? There it is. I'm just my ratings very quickly to mention that this game totally sucks-ors. No, I'm kidding. But I am going to do this. And... I guess that's it, really. Oh, nope. Here we go. There it is. I knew it was there. So that's Gumshoe. And Mia. And that fills up a full aggregate. So that's a full positive now. I still don't think Gumshoe is a full positive by himself, for the same reasons we usually don't give characters with full positives unless they're really awesome or have plenty of presentation. We talked about that a lot during the FF runs. A character who's cool, but only cool for 2 scenes is only a partial positive, right? So Gumshoe is a partial positive. However, Mia, who has been pretty cool in both her cases, is also a partial positive, which means full positive. Bam. Between the two of them. So, did I save? I'm pretty sure I saved. Let's just save another time. Yeah, let's get another one. There we go. Okay, we're cool. So, without further ado, I will give 15,000 negatives to Gumshoe.